So, who wants to recap what happened in the last session?
There's a lot. The
Yeah, a lot
vault.
of people talked. Yeah.
Daddy's vault might be in trouble, Bones. Your
Daddy
daddy's
can
vault,
protect
that
his own
is.
vault.
No, you don't
Oh.
understand. Your daddy's
Daddy's
not
vault?
there right now.
Oh, you mean like Daddy's shard, or like Daddy? Like there are many things the vault could mean, and you make me increasingly
So
worried.
yeah,
with
remember
that.
I wanted to talk to you about that yesterday, and I remember we were busy. Apparently your dad has an item that could kill gods just locked up in his vault, and people are trying to get it while he's potentially gone.
That's not my problem. That's his fault. Also,
Uh,
if he does have that and he's gone, why wouldn't he bring it with him?
Because if it's stolen from him and used on him, that would be ultimately hilarious in its own way, admittedly.
A little bit, but it's also
we don't
like
know
one of
for
those.
sure. There is some very strange speculation that got brought down at the end of the last episode.
Okay, I'll take that in stride. Is Pyre aware of these things?
You were present.
Was he there for that conversation? Okay, so he
You
was.
were present for the interrogation. Everyone in the party was present because you explicitly made that clear.
Okay, yeah, I'll need details then. Whoever's doing the recap, please, Pyre, fill in his memory blank.
I think I spent my inspiration, so I'll go for it.
Okay.
My memory is kind of terrible, but so we did the quote unquote fallout from the chicken stealing, as it were. Certain people talked to certain NPCs about various things. Certain meetings were set up after the fact. For example, I think you'll have to forgive me, Stefan, but if it was the Kenku you were interested in learning about his. No, it was the Wind Mage.
The Wind Mage.
The Wind Mage you were learning about, or you wanted to talk to.
She met
The Kenku. The Kenku, I know it showed an interest in somebody, but I can't remember who it was. At least I thought they did. Maybe I'm just.
Was it Ash?
That was
Was it Ash?
Zalile.
It was Zalile. That's right, because of your
Zalile,
mark.
Yeah,
Yes.
Master Lyric.
Right,
and I
because the
did a
mark of the
little-
Vizier. Secret talked to a few people, including there was the orc. I'm forgetting his name. Jack, right?
Jack.
Yeah,
Jack
because I always
Wild.
think of him as Jack Ma, like the fucking rich Chinese dude, instead of Jack Wild. Don't ask. And then there was a event that happened afterwards that almost got ignored, where a peasant was being dragged out by I'm assuming the personal honor guard of matriarch Dawn is her name?
Leona Divine.
Divine. Shit, how did I forget the religious is Divine? Okay, so yeah, Leona Divine is her name. Just as a reminder to the folks at home, especially Bones, the House of Divine is the house of all things essentially religion in Veer. Lady Divine herself being a follower of Luminaire. Not Luminaire. Lumia?
Lumen.
right?
Just Lumen.
Lumen. God,
She's a
names
sun
are really hard.
werewolf.
Yeah, names are hard for me. Leave me alone. But Lumen, basically, who was about to have this random ass peasant just publicly executed, for treason against the gods, essentially. To which I was like, hold up, and used my proper rank and divine status to be like, hey, what's up with that? Can we talk to him? Because he started talking about basically War of the Gods. At a time, and was talking about how anybody could be a god, specifically and suspiciously at the time we're investigating the stones. So I didn't necessarily pull rank, but I did use my rank to request time with him, got the party together, basically caught Lady Divine on what was going on, because decided then there I wanted her on my side when shit hits the fan, because she's a very powerful person in the city. And I basically told her what was going on. And everybody was there for it. Everybody seemed all right with it. We interviewed Mr. I believe his name was Greg Miller, I don't know why
Grant.
that's the thing
Grant
I
Miller.
remember. Yeah, Grant. See, I didn't even do that. Mr. Miller, who basically started talking about when we interviewed him inside of a zone of truth, that anybody could become a god, and the usual. And when we try to get down to the nitty gritty of where he learned this information, there apparently, he said he met a Goliath. Secret did what I understand is maybe like a first for the religion, where instead of looking forward in the threads of fate, he looked into the past, and he saw images of a half-burned Goliath with the mark of vengeance on him, completely half-burned, like just from one side down to the other. Grant then went and talked about that he was originally from one of the two major city-states that was burned down by Zygon. And basically the gods cursed that land so that no prosperity or any kind of growth at all would basically come back to that land, if I remember correctly. When I looked in the past, the Goliath told Grant that there was a sword that was made by the gods, supposedly to be used as a weapon against mortals. The idea being that it could literally separate the threads of mana from, I guess, existence of mortals, but as a side effect, that sword could be killed by gods, and it is in Zygon's vault. The Goliath, I saw his face, did not have a name, never told Grant his name, and basically said, okay, bye, peace, and Grant literally just ran with the whole thing, was like, oh, this is awesome. Was not, as far as we can tell from all our prodding, he was not under the influence of any drugs, and he is not under the possession of any kind of demons, divinities, or anything like that we can tell. To which point then we said, hey, Pyre, maybe you should, since you have openly communicated with your dad really easily, just said, maybe you should check on that and make sure that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands, because we have no clue where this Goliath is. And if he's telling people about these stones and that sword gets stolen, we have bigger problems on this whole war that's already upcoming and already in the process of happening potentially. So that is the closest thing I can do to a recap. How did I do, Jorah? I feel like I forgot something.
One of the main details I think you did forget was that Leona Divine did mention that she's basically going to launch a raid on the House of Steel, since you gave her the tip about that.
Because I talked about that artifact, and I said, please, for the love of God, keep me informed. And, and I asked her to wait until after I had the meeting, just in case the meeting actually went well. And she said, okay. And it sounds kind of like she's going to be on our side because I was truthful with her. So I'm hoping that sticks. I forgot about that little tidbit.
At the end of the interrogation, it was very obvious that she seemed a little bit shaken by both what you said and what the heretics said. She has a lot to think about, and you do feel like something is off.
So Pyre does look a little bewildered. I'm jumping right into it. I'm sorry. Would love to react, but I can't. Let's keep going with the recap.
I mean, does anyone else have anything that they wanted to add? I think he's gotten most of the broad points.
No. Someone talked to Zorg. Someone talked to Zorg about vengeance last time as well. I think that's the only thing.
Marius?
Oh yeah, Marius did talk to Zorg and say, hey, I've been there too. I know what it's like to want vengeance, and all you'll accomplish is hurting the people close to you. He encourages you to put all of it behind you, and he asked if Zorg visited Zucani. He said yes, there's nothing left there, and Marius responded, really, because there's a beautiful blossoming meadow there now. From the ashes of Zucani, there's new life, and I hope that you can find your way as well again. But Zorg, for some reason, seems to think there might be something up with Marius, because he said, quote, that he just feels something cold coming from Marius.
Oh, and that reminds me, speaking of vengeance, Star is completely convinced that the said god of vengeance, who used to be the god of art before his city-states were burned down by Zygon, is planning a revenge plot against Zygon, and this is probably where it's coming from. He hasn't said the whole thing yet, but I'm pretty sure, just throwing that out there so y'all could follow along at home. That's my thought. Because your dad was the one who burned down his city-states, and yet he's still part of the Pantheon. How did that happen?
Pyre just gives Secret like a bewildered look. Your Secret, have you learned nothing at your temple?
I assume you're about to enlighten me.
Yes, I am. The most basic principle of worship. Anytime you directly say a deity's name, they listen. Anytime you pray to them, they listen more clearly. Yes, I have a better connection, and I have a little bit of influence, but I have no reason to spread rumors to my father with a plot he is most likely already aware of. But if you
Well,
wish to invoke his ire or his favor, you may use his name and do it yourself and face the consequences.
I am not invoking anything. If anything, I am warning him of tools that potentially
And why
could be
have you
used to
not
kill
said
him.
his name?
Want me to say it?
If you wish to communicate with him and to get his attention, that is how you do it. It's the same with any other god, and it is the reason why I do not directly call myself after his name, even though that is my true name.
I would like to remind you, he is your father. Any plots against him would make more sense coming from you as the messenger. He does not know or care who I am.
What evidence do we have, Secret? We have a peasant who knows a little too much, yes, but we don't know exactly who or why or where. We have no written information. We have no
We have
artifacts.
a
We know.
Goliath terrorist who potentially could be the reason for all of my visions of the war, as well as the start of the rebellion that should be happening soon, who somehow knows about an artifact in your father's vault that potentially could kill your father, at the same time bringing this up at a time where your father is leaving and physically traveling here, away from his honor guard and away from his vault. You don't think that's
Then
suspicious?
I think it's unusual. I think it's circumstantial. Is it worthy of my attention? Yes. But as for my father's attention, what if I was to invoke his name, be a little bit too kind, like throwing ice water in someone's face, only to distract them at a critical moment? Make him think of one less invention, make him parry a blade a little less effectively. Anything like
Or
that.
or die because you didn't warn him.
Yes. So we have paths, we have things going on. If it's important to warn him, it should not be me, it should be your father who does it.
My father.
Or does he not listen to you, his name when you speak it?
I don't try to distract and find out. I'm sure every other one of my siblings is vying for attention.
So you don't care about my father, you care about me and my effects I would have on my father. Am I clear there?
I consider you a friend if that's what you're trying to get at, but I do think that this weapon potentially falling in the wrong hands at a critical juncture could be disastrous for
Zorb's hands.
everybody's fathers and mothers.
I understand that you've claimed to have seen into the past, but even then, your father would be able to do this more effectively. He'd be able to discern truth from perspective. It's not a matter of whether we should contact my father, it's a matter of do we have enough information for it to be useful to him. There's an item which he already knows is valuable and needs to be protected. If a sudden message would inform him of it, then he shouldn't
I
have
know
it to
he
begin
knows
with.
of the weapon. It's a matter of, does he know the item is in danger?
A god-slaying weapon is always in danger.
directly
Always.
targeted in this moment. I think I see a little bit. I mean, I understand your reservations of contacting your father and letting him know, but I mean, rumors, like you said, Secret's father could directly relate that information. But if you relay that information, you say, "Hey, here's some rumors," and your father can do with it as he pleases.
Yes, he could. But when you go to a king, you do not give him your Spark Notes, you give him your published document summary. You don't give him the entire report unless he has advisors there to go through it for him. You give him the important bits, the ones that have evidence, substance, things he can make decisions off of. What we have here is a wild rumor. This man could have gotten this from a completely different source. Secret could have meddled with fate itself with his ignorance of his own abilities and changed the fate of history in the past before we've reached to this point. Every time you look at something and measure it, Secret, your actions change, whether it's the past, present, or future.
And
Same
what
goes
if we
with
make a
gods. When
compromise?
you meddle with them, what? Pyre looks at you.
What if-
Out of character, it's Pyre, it's not me. Anyway, keep going.
A compromise. Not your father directly, like you said, busy man, king, cliff notes, yada yada yada. Is there someone in your court that this information would be they could suss out for themselves? Like you used your status earlier when we first came to town. Anyone in your father's court might be able to use this information we have to, sort through it before presenting it to your father. It doesn't have to be us, just someone you trust in his care.
Might be a point, but could still cause some issues.
I prefer
Stefan.
not to tell Zygum.
No.
No, he does have a point. Stefan.
That wasn't Stefan.
Yeah, but I am speaking to him, Pyre
Okay,
says.
just making sure. Just making
I
sure.
am not in possession of every magical artifact, and I purposely left with little ties to home in order to force myself to adapt. However, of everyone here, the person with the most clout, and when it comes to politics, the Genasi, Stefan's
Monica.
charge. Yeah, her.
Her name's Monica, by the way. You can say her name. It's not like Beetlejuice or your father's. Yeah, it'd be Monica. I look around.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. So I thought it was wise to address Stefan, who frankly isn't realizing I'm addressing him, to address Monica for me because I am not well versed in the matters of courtly affairs. Stefan, do you or Monica have a way to contact her mother or the other gods or rulers, such as the state below your mother's kingdom? Not on you, of course, but I mean, you have friends in the city.
His microphone is flashing. I wonder if it's not sending out audio.
I'm totally not seeing his microphone flash.
I'm not even.
I am.
Oh,
I
okay,
am.
I did not
It is
flash.
now.
It's flashing a little bit, but I don't hear anything.
See, Stefan.
Yep,
Yep, there we go.
Oh, you're back. Welcome back.
I'm here.
Did you hear what phone said to you?
No,
I knew he wasn't listening.
honestly, no.
At least he's
All right.
honest about it. He didn't try to BS it and be like, and yes,
yeah.
I will help with the goblins.
Oh my gosh. All right, so quick recap, Stefan. Pyre was told to contact his father about this random commoner who knew too much about things that should be a secret. Artifact that could kill a god and such. Pyre
I
has
heard
refused
most of
to.
that, and then it just cut out for a minute.
Pyre refused to get his father's attention, and when other people brought up contacting his homeland rather than his father, he was more amiable. But he looked to you and said, Stefan, you have the most clout in the court. Your kingdom is north of my father's. Surely you have contacts in here that trace back to Ashenvale and Zakir.
Yeah.
Definitely to Ashenvale.
You really want me to make contact with a god?
I want you to make contact with the stewards in the god's place. My father is traveling here. When, I do not know. However, it's important to understand that a message should be delivered that Zakir should have additional guards while Zygon is doing his tasks.
Yeah, well, he probably should leave that thing with somebody who can take care of it. Good for him, like me. But he won't do that.
Like you.
You would be the God Slayer.
I think he's kidding. I hope.
Kind of like looks around a little baffled. You are
If I had the
practicing
sword,
humor at a
and
time
if
like
I was
this?
the one who could slay gods, then the gods would be safe.
Oh. But you'd have mortals to contend with.
Yeah, I imagine that weapon do a lot of shit to a mortal too.
Mm. He'll tap his
But that's
chin.
besides the point. Monica and I will try to make contact and pass the word.
Yeah. It doesn't have
It's a
to
little
mention
hard
the
to do
weapons.
without being there, but Monica has ways of communicating with her mother.
And don't forget the consideration that Zygon is known to be a bit sexist and Elwyn is female. So a message from her over to Zakir. Well, I guess Zygon's not there right now, so who knows if the stewards also hold that sexism as well.
Why do you think Pyre out of character? Why do you think Pyre wants the Empress to play messenger? All right, so Pyre nods and he says that.
Contact and pass the rumor.
Zorgus is upset with your decision.
It doesn't hurt to alert people. If the stewards are aware, then maybe nothing will happen.
Pyre nods. And
My
if my
curios-
father is still to come here, then Zorg will still have his meeting. Your entire life coming to one moment. How does it feel, Zorg? Knowing that it's going to end in a week. Everything coming to a conclusion.
Just taunting the man, your idea of being nice.
It's genuine curiosity. I've never seen a deadline like this. Besides executions, but I don't tend to show interest in those individuals.
So you believe that my death is coming soon?
I believe your death or my father's is coming soon. Were you expecting an apology from him?
No, of course not.
Then
have.
are you not going to see him? Like, you told me that you hold a grudge. You don't hold it against me, but him specifically, and you wanted to throw it at his face. I assume you have some sort of plan. I don't want to know it. I'm curious about, from what little I understand about you, your entire life, everything you've built towards since that day has been for this, and it's so soon.
This may just be the start of a long battle.
Huh. Interesting. I guess maybe I was a little short-sighted. Or maybe you're looking too far into the future, but I'm not sure which.
That's my domain.
You guys take care of the gods. I'll take care of the earth.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. As for everyone in this room, any mention of things that my father would be upset about leaving this room in any way or capacity, well, if you want to keep your tongues, keep them sealed instead of cut.
Is it always so
Very-
interesting to be afraid of one's father? I wouldn't know about it.
Respect is fear.
I wouldn't either.
Respect is not fear. Respect is respect. Respect and fear are two different things. Looks over. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, James.
Ruling over fear is completely different than ruling over respect. One
How
is-
so? Aren't they the
one is-
same?
No, of course not. Have you seen a respectful ruler? Have you seen a fearful ruler? A dictator, as you would say.
Why do you think my father doesn't own the world?
Because if he did, the world would probably explode.
He might make into something different, but no, he's not the type for complete destruction. That's only when something's failed.
And also, on a side note, your father is definitely will not shut up about bragging about making the world and making the sun. Even though technically Arcus, the other god of smithing, also helped out with that. But he definitely does not shut up about it. So from his perspective, you could argue that he does still see that he owns the world, or he made it.
Hmm? Why would he destroy something of his, Zorg?
He's
Oh.
destroyed many of others things.
Yes, but
Other gods,
that's
people.
what's the difference between destruction and creation? I apologize. I should have a longer conversation with Zorg when we're more disposed. I didn't realize my viewpoints were so challenged.
I
I
think
just
you're
think that Zorg's been through quite a bit, and the others who have different experiences than you might have seen different ways to lead and different ways of thinking, and it's nice to kind of flex that and as you say, follow innovation and create new ideas and new beliefs as you continue to grow. I think this is a good thing to talk out.
Yeah, but in this interrogation area, it doesn't seem like the most appropriate of places.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh my God. I totally was zoning into y'all's conversation. This has got real intense real quick. Ooh, hey, yeah. Sorry. Random. What was it? Grant Miller. Ignore and forget everything we
I
just.
think
talked
he was
about.
already dragged out at the end of
Okay,
last
good.
session, if I
Yes.
remember
The last
correctly.
session they were hanging him.
Okay.
Yeah, we still said, "Hey, what do you want to do with him, Lady Divine?" She's like, "I'm still killing him." Okay.
Pretty much, yep.
Yeah,
Mm.
he said he's still
We got-
sentenced.
Yeah, we
So
got
where
what we
are
wanted.
we
out
at
of him. If anything, he
exactly?
just made it worse for himself.
Pyre does do a double take. Secret, did you ever confirm her identity?
As Lady Divine? Yes, I've seen her many times.
Yep, she's definitely Lady Divine. You've been here long enough that you probably would have glanced at some of the leading figures before, and she definitely looks like Lady Divine.
Based on the recent looks at Zalile death of a party member, I would say that appearances can be deceiving. Maybe we should ensure that the hanging goes well?
You're an interesting character, but I can see your concern being valid in this case.
Well,
I'm- oh.
information is wealth.
You want to watch the hanging of the heretic. in
I
case
want
it
to
goes
ensure
wrong.
that the
I know he just wants to go and look at Lady Divine because she's good to look at.
if we're lucky, the hanging will go poorly and he'll be decapitated.
Ugh. That's.
Was that lucky?
I'll skip out on
I
that.
don't know if that's
Yeah,
lucky.
You can have fun with that. I think I might skip out on the whole thing after the recent events and certain The fact that I could have also been hung, so I'm just gonna hang out in the back and talk to anybody. who
I
wants to
don't
not
mind
go to the hanging.
making. I don't mind making sure everything goes smoothly, but I do have a dinner date soon.
Yeah, just don't stand too close. Why wouldn't it be lucky? I mean, it's a quick death for him, and it results in no easy reincarnation for any of our foes. Oh, yeah, Zalal, maybe you shouldn't. 2-for-1 deals may not be good for you.
I mean, how about 6-for-1, right?
Oh, that's an
just,
important
like,
thing to note. We did not
people
tell her
know.
that. I forgot, Bones. We did not tell her that Zaliel is alive. We told him that's Raphael, a guy named Raphael.
She knows.
She might, but we
She
didn't
does.
tell her. I'm just pointing out that that's not what we told her, is all.
Okay, you didn't confess. It's good. Either way, Zaliel, I suspect someone of her station, if she is who she says she is,
We'll
already.
figure it out quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I'm pretty
she's
sure I
part of a
accidentally
different
said
house.
it anyways in there. I'm pretty sure I said my real name a few times. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure it was thrown around in front of somebody. So yeah, I mean,
Have
could've
been
gone worse.
so lackadaisical about it. I really haven't bothered to learn your new name. Is there a
that was-
point?
I mean, there is, but yeah, we can get into that later if you want.
I'll appreciate you forever.
Respect your identity, and I will respect your new identity. Though asking me to do so when you clearly do not is not on the table.
Does that work?
Something to
Yeah, I've got
consider.
Rapier in his knife.
Wasn't asking for your
It's not
respect.
charging anymore. It's not
You
charging.
included me in on your execution.
Like,
I will
plugged
not
it
go
up, it's
down with
burning.
you.
No, I was talking about the 5, people the represent the slaves and the B, and it wasn't us being hung. Jeez, whoa!
So I don't know if
I
I
was-
broke it or I did what.
That was not received correctly.
Like,
Okay.
it won't
Now
turn on.
miscommunication. See, that's the
Turn it on.
problem.
Plugging it up.
He nods. It's a
Like, I
little
had it
sharp,
plugged
a little
up, the
sudden,
light was on, and now it's not on.
but he accepts your apology. Clearly doesn't believe you, but he tries to hide that emotion and fails
I
miserably.
had a little light on the bottom.
Pyre,
But like, I don't know if it does.
I-
or not.
just
Yeah,
real
it was
quick,
turning on,
I
but
do
it-
want to
it's
say
like,
one
it
thing
won't
before we
turn.
continue. Because you see his my eyes kind of soften a little bit, and I'll kind of calm myself down and just be like, I just want to let you know, it doesn't hurt for me to tell the truth. It just kind of hurts in certain situations. I'm honestly more honest than you expect.
Terrifyingly so. You need to find a balance, not swing from one extreme to another.
Yeah, I'm working on that, and I definitely have something in mind that might be able to help with that.
It's
maybe
not your words that's the problem, it's the words themselves. Stefan is a good example. He only speaks when it's smart.
see, and I understand that. I need to speak to fill my own time, my own space. My head keeps thinking like crazy over and over, and when there's those silences, I can't help myself, and it's because some days when we go through a lot and experience terrible things, we act in terrible ways, and now I'm had a few days to process, and probably almost died in that ant mine there, and just wanted to let everybody know that hey, I'm here for you guys, and whatever you need, just let me know.
Why do you fear death?
I honestly don't fear death. I fear that I won't be able to make my death mean something.
Regardless of what you do, you will return to what you were before and be made anew. Unless you are, well, might already be too late for you. Think about what you want a gravestone. Final words are important.
Oh, I just see. Here's that. That's the funny thing. Gravestones. Not about it. All right. Shining monument. Yes. More about it.
Still stone on your grave or marking your passing. It's
Okay. I will. It will say.
I
Hired
know how
best
exactly how
friend
to take care of his
forever.
gravestone. Once we have him in the ground and he's secured, we'll cast a magic mouse spell on it so that it keeps talking.
Oh,
I'm not sure this
Stefan,
world can take that amount of deadliness.
That is the most heartfelt thing. Oh,
How
Stefan.
do you like
Oh my
that
God.
one?
That is the most heartfelt and I like it. I'm sorry. I'm getting so tearful. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Stefan. I have a new goal in life or death.
Yes.
Either or.
I just thought that would be appropriate.
I would not use the power of my father, but it is feasible that I could enchant a item to record your final words to place on that monument. Though it would be easier if the monument is made before you die.
I'm not gonna lie. When I do eventually, if I do die, how I would probably going out is like screaming like a little bitch. But I honestly think that works. You know.
His
just have
last
that.
words are, "What the fuck?" That's going to be on your monument.
It just like pops up every time someone puts flowers on your monument.
I worry about all of you. For many reasons, by the way.
Then why don't you show it?
I just did.
He does
You
so many
stated
times
it, you didn't
vocally.
show it.
I just did by stating it. If I
No, I
Words
understand.
aren't
Come in, bring it in.
actions. They're
Little
just
hug.
noise.
Yeah, just
I
bring
mean,
it
you
in.
were
We want a
there
little
for
hug
the
for this
event.
secret.
So don't get me wrong, I'm not calling you a coward. I'm simply saying, if you care about us, why aren't you trying to understand us better?
You don't think I am? You don't think I observe all of you?
He'll point in a circle. Everyone, name each of us first and last names.
Most of you don't even
Well,
have
do you know
last
that
names.
is my weakness as me, the person, right? I fucking hate you. God. Okay, we will give
mean,
this
all-
a try.
I'll give you a hint. No one else. I don't think anyone else has last names. At
Other
least
than
not
you.
on.
Not on
Working at
record.
DM, I am
I can't
fine
remember
with you
what the
cheating
last
out of
name
character.
Zorg does not have a last name.
Yeah, I just know Zorg is Zorg the Ruthless. I know Ash is Ash. That's Stefan, who is the ward and current caretaker of the Genasi Monica.
Yep.
That
Duke of
is
Eastwich. Yep.
Duke of Eastwich.
Duke of Eastwich.
Deuce.
Oh, I keep forgetting you're a Duke. Yeah, you're a Duke.
Yeah,
Mr. Duke. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
The heir apparent, if my old man will finally just croak.
yeah. That's well, you know who that is. He looks at Zaliel. And you are Pyre. I almost called you Dragonson Bones, and I don't remember what you said it was.
I'm not showing mercy here unless you ask.
Bones. I know Seeger remember it. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, so what are you going to do as a player?
Oh my fucking god, Bones! I'm gonna throw you for a fucking window. Is what I'm gonna do.
Zorg will join in on that.
Hard to
like
do
Duke
when you're
of
playing online.
Zorg's got the
Will
net
you-
out ready for it.
Will you please tell me your character's last name that you said in front of my character multiple times?
Pyre's used multiple last names. The first one he used in front of you was Son of Zygon.
Yes, that's not a last name. He said another one. It began with a dragon. The word dragon.
It's more
Son
of
of
a title.
Innovation.
Those are
That is a
titles.
different campaign, Cat. That's a different campaign.
No,
What is?
you.
I will add in the
Sure,
third
help
one
me
that he
out.
might not. I will add in the third one that he might not remember. But technically, he would have also gotten his mother's last name, which is Runescar. Runescar.
Oh, Pyre has not introduced himself as such
Yeah,
to Secret
yeah.
Grain.
Secret does not know that one.
I
But
thought it was
you
gonna
said
be
one,
the
you were
name
like-
he used in the tournament. Protector of Ash.
Yes, that's the one. I will
Protector
look
of
at
Ash.
it.
Use that
Pyre,
one.
Protector of Ash.
Pyre looks
Remember that?
super disappointed in you. It's just like he punched him in the gut.
You signed up with it.
Well, you got some of them right. You forgot Monica and you forgot the parrot.
Monica and
And-
the parrot are not here in this room. You had pointed around the room.
Hmm,
And nobody
fair
has told me the parrot's name, now that I think about it.
The parrot
Maybe you
does
don't
have a
care
name.
about the
I can't
parrot.
remember what
I've
it is now.
screamed Coco,
Coco.
so many times.
Coco!
Yes, Coco.
Coco.
But what wounds me the most, Secret, is you didn't use the name I've introduced myself with you.
Son of Zygon or Son of Innovation?
The first one. But now that he's listening, might as well make his time worthwhile.
You're interesting. Fine, if that's the game you want to play. Zygon, Father of Innovation, I pray to you. I am Secret Dream, son of fucking Chuck forgot the name for a second.
Sirkava. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. There is a matter of which your son is involved with me that I would like to discuss about something in your vault that could be a danger to you. You already know what the Liberator is. Will you speak with me?
While you say those
Where-
words, Pyre will begin somewhat struggling off his armor and taking off his upper torso, terms of gear, helmet, those sort of things. Go ahead. What were you saying, DM?
Where did you hear that name from?
So it is real. I heard it from somebody who is trying to kill the gods.
Hmm.
And you have left your vault wide open. I hope not.
You can be rest assured that even if Zakir was attacked by the full demonic army, they'll likely find nothing of importance there.
There
At least
is.
not what they're looking for.
I'm sure your son told you about my mission from my father. That's why you're coming after all. Yes?
Indeed. I do remember seeing you.
Well, then allow me to tell you the latest update because your son was too cowardice to tell you himself. Looks over at Pyre. In the course of
He-
our
He has his
our
back to you. Go ahead.
in the course of our investigation, we came upon a heretic who was spouting about the stone, how anybody could become a god, and that the current pantheon's time was coming. Oddly suspicious of the timing, I intervened before he could be executed and found out that he found this information through a Goliath who bears the mark of vengeance. Half-burnt. Likely from one of the 2 city-states that you burned of that particular god's town, or area, domain, whatever you want. The god of, formerly god of art, turned to vengeance. The Goliath talked about a sword known as the Liberator and claims that you and the rest of the Pantheon plan to use it against us mortals to sever our mana connection, and implied that he wants to grab that sword to use against the gods and separate you from your mana. I was divined this by looking into the past with Father's power.
I hope you know that your father frequently informs us of many potential futures, most of which never come to pass. This
And
is
I
but
assume
one of
you will
many.
take me just as lightly.
I always have a few men that are always on high alert, but we are aware that there are growing heretics appearing in multiple city-states. We're not quite sure. At the very least, we're very certain that Rukari is not the one sowing these seeds across the continent. We're pretty certain it must be Solemn or Visage.
Solemn would make sense, given that we've dealt with a cult of Solemn here in town, and that's where we got one of our fragments. But I do think that what I saw was a particular Goliath, and I will give Zygon the physical specifications of which I saw in the image of the past, the premonition of the past, essentially.
Okay. Are you also
From what I
going?
saw.
Are you also going to basically state that it's implied that he might have some shards and be an ascendant?
Yes.
Okay. As far as it's concerned to me, these are vague rumors. I will let some of my advisors and spy masters know, and we will conduct an investigation. But as far as I'm concerned, there are many people who have grand plans. It wouldn't surprise me if Solemn has already spread these rumors all across the continent.
Would Solemn or Visage know about the Liberator?
Visage can easily learn about the Liberator, and Solemn has his ways of gathering secrets and information. That's what makes him the god of secrets as well. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Are you aware of the new Waganshi Primarch, who also seems to have found a stone, from what I can gather from rumor?
Are you saying,
I d-
are you trying to imply that Waganshi has an ascendant?
I am, and I'm trying to learn more about it. Him, maybe.
Interesting. A bunch of savage orcs having gained some sort of shard of power. I see.
I take offense to that term.
Zorg also takes offense to this term.
Look, you're not in
Very
his head. You're not in his head. You can't take offense.
Yeah, you're physically not allowed to, clearly.
I assume that regardless of God, Mark Pyre cannot hear the conversation as well. It's just secret talking to himself.
Yeah, it's pretty much a mental one. Just like you had a mental
Okay.
conversation with Zygon before.
No problem.
If he tells us, we don't know.
Which I'm not going to say that in front of the orc, thank you. Especially because I'm also basically of that same similar lineage, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just a different race. Sound seems to be the theme there. They are producing new sound magics after their chieftain had a vision to go up a mountain, and he found a stone. And suddenly, sound magic is invented there. Or at the very least, is empowered and studied.
I see, and I take it these are rumors as well.
Sounds like a little bit more than rumor. I've witnessed some of the potential today. I
Actually-
witnessed the magics,
I see.
but it was not
Sound-
from an ascendant.
Certain sound magics have existed, same with spatial and time magics. But I will notify my spy master and advisors, and we will gather information before we act. It would be a bit hasty to move with limited information.
I will be investigating that stone after I investigate Father's mission that I'm on.
I see. Well, then I hope you don't... Well, if you see my advisors, be sure to work with them. And if Zakir decides to make a move, try not to get in their way.
I have no interest in Zakir's politics. The only thing that I ask in return for giving you this information is that you simply remember who gave it to you.
And who am I speaking with?
Secret Dream, son of Surkava. One of many.
Secret Dream, son of Surkava. You'll have to forgive me if I don't remember it. He's got too many sons and daughters to speak of.
Then just remember that I am simply Seer, Secret Dream.
Seer Secret Dream. Very well. These are some interesting rumors that you have certainly forwarded to me.
I plan
I
on
do-
seeing you when you come to visit your son.
And what business do you have with Zygon, the god of fire, creator of the world?
I'm the one that's investigating and finding the shards with your son. I think I have plenty of business with you.
Very well. Then prepare a warm entrance for the god of fire.
I have already informed the House of Divine of your arrival. You're welcome.
Let's see. Is there anything else? I mean, do we have anything else to talk about? If not, then you can.
Oh, I
basically
will just say,
goodbye.
see you soon, and I will take good care of your son.
Keep the
Pyre
shard
is
safe.
hefting. Pyre is hefting a hand axe. Not at anyone, just testing its weight, unsheathed.
You have particular children. Not particular,
Yeah.
peculiar. He would have said the word peculiar, all right? He would have said peculiar, just FYI.
Yes, they all have the spark of innovation amongst them. They
Well-
are truly gifted. I can't exactly say the same for all the spawn of Sarkava.
Hmm. Well, I can't say the same about all of us either. I will admit your son is probably the smartest person I've met, if a little dense. But he's good people. Perhaps you should remember that.
He just scoffs a little bit. Of course,
Secret,
I expect no less from my son.
Secret, who did he say needs a brand of silence on their tongue?
You. He looks over, and then he looks over, and then he just kind of looks up and says, I will see you soon. You have a good day, Zygon, god of fire and innovation.
We will be there in, let's see, tomorrow, 3 days. We'll be there. I will be there in 3 days.
3 days. Okay. I will let them know. I'll wait to be hung up on, essentially.
I mean, there's not really any hang up. Like, it's just
Right.
it's just silence. You're not sure if he's still listening or not, but you don't hear
Pyre
anything.
does give Secret a look. DM insight. I want to see if I believe him.
Believe
Insight.
me?
Yeah, I asked you a question. You answered for my father.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a
shit.
6.
Yeah.
I assume that means I believe him. Do you want to roll bluff or do you just want to take this?
No, it was very clear he was being sarcastic. I wouldn't even make you roll for that.
It's Pyre. I decided to roll, so I'll take the blow. I assume this is a failure, DM.
We will assume it's a failure. Yes.
All right. Pyre's a bit shaken. He looks at you for a good solid moment, nods, reaches up his hand, places it in his mouth.
Wait. What are you doing?
just stares at you. He's held his hand. It's on his tongue. He like palm down in his mouth, and he's
Yeah,
just
he's-
waiting there.
He's
You're not
joking,
actually-
man. He's joking. Good.
Yes,
good.
your dad didn't say anything about a silence.
Visible relief.
Your father went out of
Takes
his
his
way
hand
to
out.
insult me and my siblings. I only just spoke out.
Man, Pyre, you are extreme. That's hardcore. Oh my god. Huh.
I
Whew.
wasn't
I
that
mean, on my
extreme. It
head,
just would have been a brand of
scary.
silence. Wasn't gonna cut his tongue out.
You
No,
know that was
but
a
if
thing.
you, it would have activated if I ever talked about the item, and it would have rendered my dead or at best mute with seared vocal cords and tongue. But yeah,
He did not.
I was
He did
surprised.
not mention anybody to. He was surprised I knew what it was, but he did not ask for brands of silence on anybody.
He looks at you again. Puts his hand back in his mouth.
I just grab
You're
his wrist.
lying. Feel free to wrestle with him.
I'm not gonna even bother. If he wants to cast it on himself, I'm not gonna stop him. But I think it's very clear
You
Secret
liar!
thinks he's looking
You
stupid.
want me to betray my father?
No. I just went out of your way to tell your father you're smart. Please do not act the opposite.
I don't know, Pyre. For me, I'd incite that last remark.
So
Pyre, okay, you can do this. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Put the branding iron down. No one
Oh
needs.
no! Did you really do that again?
It's okay. Breathe, Pyre. Breathe. It's okay.
all right,
See, you just talked to your
Looks-
father and had a good convo. I know that
looks
could
at
be
Zalile,
frustrating.
looks at Secret. Now I know for sure you're lying if Zalile's supporting you.
I didn't say
Just
anything to
come on, there's no
Zalile.
more honest than you know. Come on, we're working on this growth here, man.
Your father
he
said he's
clearly
arriving
doesn't
in-
want to do it. Pyre clearly doesn't want to do it with his language. He's like someone who's like, hold me back, hold me back.
Your
I
father is coming in.
assume that it is no longer necessary to make contact. That you have already done that.
I hope so. Yes. Probably not. He didn't take me very seriously,
No, he
despite the
wouldn't take
fact that
anybody
he
very
didn't think I should know
seriously
what the.
unless they were of equal rank in the theology.
He doesn't seem to like to take my father's warnings very seriously either.
Well, your
now all
father's
the pressure's
warnings
on him.
mostly come through his children, and you know there's a lot of them probably much less talented than you are.
Given our resources, you not being taken seriously is the best outcome.
I only simply gave him the rumor for him to do what he did with something that you were too scared to do.
I had respect. You took initiative. He respects certain aspects of innovation that you developed and displayed. Aspects that, had I done so, it would have been outright rebellion.
Are you mad that I complimented you to him?
Looks at you, just like narrows his eyes, like confused. No. Let's go watch a hanging.
Fine, and I'm going to dinner. You all give me a headache. Well, not all of you. Stefan doesn't give me a headache, just the rest of you.
Even me?
And when is
Okay, you don't either, but that's because you don't talk that much. More like your silence is deafening most of the time, Zorg. You should speak more. Unless you have something stupid to say, then you should not speak more.
I mean, even me? What? Shock.
No, you definitely give me a headache.
I agree.
Oh,
See, Zorg's a smart
yeah,
man.
no, it's okay. No, I already knew that. No, I'm just kidding. Well, if when is the big uprising meeting that's supposed to happen?
Soon, I assume.
Tonight.
Will you be at your dinner while some of us go to that, or will everyone be going to that? And should we invite anyone?
I know
Sounds
you
like
guys
fun.
are having your party. I will probably be at dinner during the party unless it's that bad.
Are you going to make the venue of your party where this supposed uprising meeting is going to be? Because they are meeting at a tavern.
Which party? Which uprising meeting are we talking about again? Just to make sure I don't remember. I'm not forgetting something. Is this something
No.
Secret would know?
I forget if Lyle mentioned it at all to the party,
No, we
but
talked about it before the
okay.
Golden Cock Festival.
Oh dear, I
Right.
don't even remember that far back. Okay.
I don't either. I need a reminder as the player.
Uprising meeting, out of character, Joe. Let's be frank. How clearly have you told Pyre that it's like an uprising meeting? Who are we uprising against? What's going on? How likely is Pyre to just throw you underneath a bus? I need details.
I think it was just that there were rumors about people who would maybe have like a gathering, almost kind of like a town hall meeting outside a Republican drawer. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Outside like of a tavern or inside one, and they
Inside a
were
tavern.
gonna all meet up and talk. And there was like rumors of rebellion surrounding that. Just forgot if I had like cut out early on the session, and so I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of what I would have said to the group about
How
it.
the fuck
but
do I not remember any of this as a player? I still
I
don't.
think-
Even after he's talking about it, I still don't remember.
It was my
Was this
first
the session
back,
I was
think.
missing? Because there was a
No, I think it
session
was
I
my-
was missing.
I don't know.
First
I don't
session.
think
Cat
it
was missing for that
before
session.
that.
Yeah, he
I
was. Okay.
Yeah, I think you were here for this session. That session that he's talking about.
Yeah,
But
because
it
it was
was
like
like
my
I
first
wasn't-
session back. So it was like
3 sessions
while y'all got
ago
y'all's
that you-
reward. Yeah, it was while y'all got y'all's reward, and that's when I was like, oh yeah. Afterward, I would like kind of relay this info to the group. But I don't think I ever like actually did it. So now would I guess be the right time. DM, am I misremembering?
Now remember, to be honest, I think I might have been
Okay,
focused
yeah.
on going through all the items.
Okay, yeah. So
What is
if
this
it
rebellion
hasn't happened,
meeting?
we can just say now it's happening. By the way, guys, there are some rumors about this big meeting, kind of those rebellious talks, your vision type of thing. I don't think it's something we should like bust up, but I think if we're a fly on the wall and we listen, we could learn some information about what might be happening behind the scenes. It sounds fun, doesn't it?
Well,
Zygon doesn't support unions.
What a
That's
shock.
why I said you just watch from
You
a
all
distance.
do what
We'll
you wish. I believe I need to go and join Monica and the Wind Mage for a meal. Perhaps
Probably-
you and your little halfling friend would like to join us. I laugh as I go out the door chuckling. You can see I'm shaking from the laughter as I walk out the door.
God. I would probably get recognized if I went there, which would probably be bad.
Astrid Zord, how about you guys? Do y'all want to sit in on a rebellion meeting?
Zord would,
Just
of
listen.
course, love to join a rebellion.
Ooh, I can't
Not
wait. Ooh,
join it. You're listening in to make sure that we don't just have the city get overrun instantly about angry people. Just to
right,
clarify.
we're not joining
Zord
it.
loves
Wink.
to join a good old riot.
I
Exactly,
trust that
we're
if there is
not
a good old,
joining. Wink.
I
I think
trust
me and
Zorg
Zalil
if
on
there,
the same boat.
if you just remember where you're actually supposed to have your allegiances, even with me, please. I try so hard for you.
I can see
I'll
it.
take
now.
it into
Lionel goes
consideration.
off to check out the riot and starts it.
Yeah,
You know-
I would not.
Depends on how the
I
riot's looking, all right?
I just
You're leaving
asked
us
if you.
unchaperoned. All right, just want to we'll go ahead and say that out of character. You're
I just asked that if as Zalil starts acting up at this meeting, that you cut him in half or something. He'll heal.
Yeah, I'll supervise.
The only way this observation can go to plan is if those of us who are not in the public space go, and the rest of us who are public representatives do
Act
something else.
completely
In short,
oblivious to it.
we would have to split the party.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it sounds
understandable. I
like-
just thought I'd ask and figure out who wanted to do what. Ash, here's this mana crystal as well. If you want to work on that or come with us, feel free. Because I heard all about your great little work that you've been doing with this stuff, and still haven't got this refined yet. We could go for that, and
I'd also like Ash to make me some smoke bombs.
Will you guys please give me a detailed report afterwards? It's done tomorrow.
yes, I will make sure afterwards to give you the most detailed report of your life secret. I will paint a scene for you. I'll write
After
a
he
ballad
says that, I look directly at Zorg and says, "I'm counting on you."
3-word summary.
Okay,
They
fine.
are
I'll figure out how to
rebelling.
piece. I will figure out how to piece it together between the two of you. Maybe I should send Cassidy.
So, what am I supposed to be doing with this mana crystal?
Whatever you want.
Apparently, you've been learning how to make little tinctures and little tonics. Apparently, this crystal can like revitalize spells for the party, and if it's turned into its liquid form, this is a really refined and valuable one. If you don't have that power, I mean, we could pay for someone to turn it into mana potions for us, or if you are able to do it yourself, Ash, then hey, that'd be amazing for the spellcasters of the group.
Alright, and Zorg wanted smoke bombs.
Yeah, I got the leaves.
Stefan, on his way to dinner, stops at a tavern and orders a keg delivered to the site of the rally riot group.
All right.
Nice.
Just
That
like
usually
cheap-
gets things going better. Yeah, cheap ale, you know.
Yeah, just some cheap ale. All right.
Something that cost me a couple of gold pieces or
Yeah.
something. But it's a keg of it
Yeah.
with a tap on it and a bartender with some, disposable mugs to pass it out as they come in.
Do you want
Jordan, to
cast
answer your question,
I don't want
Oh, sorry.
anybody to know I've done it, though.
Okay. All right.
It's nothing I'm proud of. It's just something I thought of.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll figure that cost me about 5 gold.
Yeah, that would be a good approximation of the cost for a big keg of it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
for a cheap keg of rock gut hooch. That's what they're used to anyway.
All right. All right. But anyway, Zalal, what were you saying?
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. To answer your question earlier, no, we would not invite all the people to where the rebellion's gonna be. We would have invited them all to like the place where we're staying to kind of create an alibi after we duck out the party early to go to the location.
Okay. All right. Technically, you guys are staying at the church, so you probably would move it to a tavern nearby.
The tavern by
church.
the church, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wherever we would be hosting a great festivity for our victory celebration
Okay.
near our staying place.
All right. All right. So it seems
Kind of
like
like throwing a handful of copper out to the demonstrators.
again.
Yeah.
All right. So if I have it right, Pyre basically had a dinner date. He's not going to call it that with the gnome, I believe. Stefan had a dinner date with Monica and the Wind Mage. Secret has his dinner date with Cass and Lucille. And then the rest of you three are intending to go to this
To
meeting,
the
right?
riot. To the meeting.
Yes, I think that's right.
All right. All right.
I was going to try and do the whole thing to refine the mana crystal and make Zorg some smoke bombs And
We'll do that at the end of the day.
alright. So then I guess I'll still go to the meeting then.
Okay. Zorik, Ash, did you two want to talk? Because I did mention. This would probably be the time for you two, if you wanted to break off from Zalil and just talk personally. Or if you want to save
I
it
kind
for
of want
much
to talk
later.
with. I kind of want to talk with Lyle as well.
Okay.
Like all three of us.
Alright. As soon as the three of you split off from the rest of the party as they all go off to their dinner dates, you guys are alone. You can take this to a private place if you want, if you don't want people listening in.
Yeah, I think we don't want to take it to a private place.
Alright.
Fancy, nice little. I didn't expect you to have such good taste. Oh, wonderful.
Zord gives him some side eye.
I'm sorry, that was rude of me. I should have expected you to be a man of finer things. Oh my, like myself, I can see kindred spirits there.
They have such great water with cucumber in here. So, what are we, gathered here for today?
Yeah, big man, what you thinking about? I had a few questions for you myself, so I'm glad you kind of pulled us aside here to have this conversation about, get it off your chest, big man. What
Do you want to ask your questions first?
I mean, you're the one who brought us in here. If you want to start, you can. If you want me to start, I can. It's up to you, man.
Well, my first question is, how do y'all feel about the gods?
Ooh, there's a complicated question. Ash, do you got any particular feelings?
I have no, need for vengeance, but I do always seek knowledge. I'd like to know the reasoning behind their doings. Was there a greater purpose? Or were they just bored?
Yeah, I don't know about greater purpose or anything. I just know that the gods confuse me. How I feel about them, Zorg? I don't know, to be honest. They're so different. Here is so different from where I'm from. I mean, I feel pampered or spoiled or ignorant or innocent in a way when now that I've been here. I mean, where I'm from in Acheron, I mean, just mercy and love. It's the gods represent kindness and hope, and I always what's the right word? I always felt envious of others because she seemed to give them more than she gave me, and I never really thought to embrace my own gifts, and so I don't really know how I feel about the gods. Some I'm warming up to and realizing might have a greater purpose, but others that I've learned about since coming here and what we've seen even people do in their names, it's quite disturbing. I'm on the fence about the gods, I guess, then, Zord.
How do you feel about the world that you've seen?
Oof.
In character, what do we know, or what would Ash know about the world? Like, do I just see destruction, or like...
Let's see. So you were from Mimosa, you went to Haradil, you ended up in Veer. would have you gone from Hardel directly to Veer, or would have you explored the southern continent as well for a little bit before coming to Veer?
As old as I am, I feel like I should have explored other places.
Okay, okay. Then pick one of the city-states, down here in the southern continent. And from your answer, you can pick one or two if you think you would be there. And Riddick was here is replaced with... I'm going to replace the image, because I actually do have the updated image. It's Ivendal is that city-state's name, but you can select one.
Ooh. Who was this elf chick? She's cute.
Which one?
I had some elf
Lady
chick
Divine.
Oh.
Yeah, Lady
Oh.
Divine.
You haven't been looking at your screen this whole time? How dare!
I'm sorry, I was too distracted by your gorgeous face on my other laptop. My other one went blank for my Roll20.
I
That
was
gorgeous
wondering why
face
your
just-
voice is coming in so much better. I didn't even notice, but like, you're actually a real person now and not a robot.
For real.
I'm a real boy now.
Yeah, it's nice to actually understand you.
Yeah. You're a real boy now, Pinocchio.
Trying to get some character development out of this session.
Let's see, you said from the southern regions, right?
Indeed. Send to the back, but I need to send the other one to the back. Yep, the southern region. Oh, wait. That should also be on the map layer. No, wait, that's gonna put the grid up. Never mind.
Where the fuck are we? We're in Veer, right?
Yeah, you're... Okay, so, you guys are in Veer. I'm gonna move the turn tracker thing.
Oh,
you are
okay,
in
that's why I
Veer.
couldn't see where we're at.
You
Okay,
were
yeah,
from
so-
Mermosa over here, where that
Uh-huh.
Minotaur and that Earth Mage were from. You moved over to Haradel, and now, since you said with how old you are, you probably would have explored at least one or two other city-states. You can choose any one from down here, and that might color your perspective on the world, depending on which city-states you choose. Oops.
Alright, well,
You need a better look. You can pick a best friend. I'm sorry. Better.
I probably would have gone to... Riddick was here.
No, it's Ivendal. Ivendal.
I would have gone to...
You could have also have gone to Pionda, or Pionda, as foreigners would pronounce it, as well. Any of those in between Veer and Haradel, basically.
Because I have a huge thing about wanting to buy a ship. I definitely would have gone to Pionda. And then from Pionda, I would have explored a little to... Riverania, or however you pronounce that.
Rivenera.
Rivenera.
Okay.
And then from there, I guess, on a ship, gone straight to Veer.
Okay. That is a good question, because I haven't quite gotten down the precise government of Pionda right now. But for Rivenera, so from what you've seen of the world, largely is that fear is a very big thing in this world. You control people through fear and power, and it's important that people fall into line and know their place in the world. For the most part. Pionda would likely be the only place where you see a little bit of democracy. It's still large. It's kind of like a constitutional monarchy in a sense. It does have a big single queen, but there is certain liberties that they do give people. But for the most part, out of all the places you've seen, people are very self-centered. People care about themselves. Mimosa, you don't remember that much of because I think it sunk when you were about 5 or 6. But Haradel, Rivenera, Vir, especially, like, the world can look a bit ugly. You've heard that other places apparently are more idealistic or have better conditions that aren't driven by fear or selfishness, but as far as you know, for what city-states you've seen, humanity can get ugly at times.
Well, was that? I'm like, it seems that nature's being taken for granted, and the greed is corrupting the most. We are in wicked times.
Ash, well said. The world can be a wicked place. Zorg, you asked a hell of a question a moment ago, but I think this one hits me more. I have not had the greatest experiences in this world. I was born different than the other Aasimar, as you have seen with my, well, darkly form and broken wing. I come to Vir a broken man because not what happened to me when I was younger. I never really knew my parents. Raphael and myself were taken in as orphans together. He was the shining star, you know that. Pity me, ah ha ha. But after I left the Knights, with questions about my mother and not knowing where to go, I was taken in by the kindest of strangers. He was merciful. He showed me what it meant to love life. It was the first time I ever thought I saw the goddess Zenova herself. It was through this old man who just gave me an opportunity, and over time started working for Lord Cunningham, who disguise I used when I first met you. And the problem is, Lord Cunningham was wicked and evil, and he harmed children. It was known, and no one spoke of it. Because we did not speak, we enabled. To the point where, one day, my son found out what was happening. He was just going with me to work because his mom couldn't take care of him. She was sick, and he was a curious lad, and I brought him to work, and he saw things he shouldn't have, and well, Lord Cunningham killed him in front of me, and took everything in my power not to exact revenge in that moment. I wanted to so badly, but I instead exposed him for the fraud he was and the harm he did, and I hope I did some good in this world. And this world can be cruel, and it can be awful and take everything from you, but slowly I'm starting to realize it's up to us to make our own paths and make the change around us that we can. And I might have been going about that the wrong way so far. But I think there's, for the life of me, I hate saying it, but I honestly believe it. I think there might be hope, but I don't know if this world's ready. and you see like Zalal now just like kind of retreat down and kind of look solemnly down, and is like kind of like spacing out almost as if like this huge weight just like has completely come off his shoulders, and he's kind of like processing through what he just told y'all.
Yep, and in the back of your head, you do remember Master Lyric telling you that your mark is a gift, not a curse.
I really appreciate you being so open with this, Zalal.
It's about time I told somebody, and I know that may not answer your questions about this world, Zorg, and I know that the thirst for vengeance, and in some petty way, I acted out and stole some goblins because I wanted slight vengeance. I wanted what I didn't get with Lord Cunningham, and in that moment, now you saw, those weren't the slaves I stole, but the 6 innocents maybe have died for my act, and I can't take that back. I can only learn and grow from this in the future, and just hope that, you know, maybe there's a right way to do this. If you go and try and confront your demon, Zorg, and you don't think and process through what you're doing, you could end up not just harming yourself, but harming those that you wish to protect.
I think you're completely right. But I feel deep down that this is something that I must do.
And I will do whatever it is in my power to help you, Zorg. To be honest, I want you to live in a way that brings you happiness. I feel like we've all at this table experienced loss in some way, and thinking these things through and not just keeping them inside, but actually talking about them is helping me heal. I don't know if it will do the same for you, Zorg, but we are here to listen. What else do you want to say or talk about?
Well, you know that Zygon killed everyone I know.
Yes.
He burned all of Zucchini. No one survived.
God damn it.
He burned the
It took me a
zucchini,
second
and it's
to realize he said that.
Zucchini, not zucchini.
It's an orc. Just be a little forgiving. He has tusks, okay?
perfectly.
Any other
Perfectly.
any other mispronunciation is fine, but zucchini is the only one that actually gets a reaction from me.
He could have said the Zamboni land.
I don't know what that is, so that would have been fine. But
That's the
zucchini.
machine that goes around cleaning the ice at the ice hockey rinks. It's a Zamboni.
Zamboni.
It was named after its inventor.
Best Scrabble word ever.
For real. Great word in general.
Sorry, Zorg, what were you saying? I totally lost track on it.
Alright, let me get a little bit more serious.
What?
So-
In this game?
Sorry, did you ask a question? I have a couple messages. So my attention has been a bit split.
No, I just asked Zorg what he was saying, because I started
Okay.
cracking up too much. All right.
So you know that Zikani was burned and almost no one survived. Very few, if any, survived, other than me.
Yeah, and
So our whole culture is gone. Everything we built for years, gone. For nothing. For no reason. No answer. How would you feel?
I'm
My
surprised.
homeland was sunken, and I understand the pain.
My pain may be different, but now I'm honestly kind of surprised how held back you were with what Pyre was saying earlier. Like innovation to create new over the destruction yes, innovation is powerful, but your loss is real, Zorg. It's very powerful as well, and I can't speak for the purpose of the gods, but just to say, it would make me feel incredibly angry all the time. Is that how it makes you feel?
Not all the time. Still care. I still want creation, not destruction. I don't love to lead the life of vengeance. That's all I have.
Fucking Punisher or what?
You and what is this path of vengeance? How will you enact this vengeance?
You're asking my plan?
I want to know if you even have one. I mean, what is the vengeance that you seek?
Well, I believe in revolution. So I think that the world is not where it should be right now. There's too much destruction. Not enough care. Slavery runs rampant. People have no freedom.
And
Only certain people get the right to freedom in this life.
and what can you or we possibly do about the world like that? I mean, you've seen what happens if you try in small ways. What could we possibly do to achieve this, or?
To be honest, I have no idea.
And that's
All I know
fair.
is there needs to be change.
And let's say there is change. Let's say we find the way, you get your revenge, the change happens, and then what?
Then what after change?
Yes.
That's-
Then what next?
If the gods die
improve
off, then what happens?
We improve the lives of people. We work to build a better civilization.
Do you think it's within your power to do this?
Not my power. Everybody's power together.
Might I advise you with advice I could have used much earlier? proceed with cautions and don't let your feelings take control. When I found out Lord Cunningham was responsible for my entire classmates' deaths, even though they bullied me, and I told you what else he did as well, it just re-triggered that, and I lost control. Zorg, if I can just give you any advice, find a way to control that passion, that energy, that rage all together. These things aren't bad feelings. They're feelings. It's just what they are. And you can channel them. And if you can maintain and control them, I mean, Zorg, you would be unstoppable.
It's so hard. Control everything.
Don't focus on controlling everything. Focus on controlling a moment. In that moment, do what I did not. Breathe and think. And then act. Allow your instincts to take control if you need them to. You're powerful warriors, Zorg. Your instincts are probably much more fine-tuned than mine. I just make little images and sounds and distract people. I get in their heads. But you slice a foe in two with the ease. It's quite remarkable. And Ash, when you get on your hunger spats, I mean, you are one scary motherfucker. I just want to say, like, man, and I want us all to be able to live in the world that we want to live in. So, Zorg, if you need anything, and if it's within my power to help, I will help, because I want the same things that you do, and maybe not all gods are good, but not all gods are bad. And maybe there are some that may seem bad that are good, and some that may seem good that are bad. That may not mean a whole lot of sense, but I would not renounce all gods, Zorg, in your sake of vengeance, but think about the ones that would most help you achieve the goal you're looking for about a prosperous and peaceful world.
Zorg contemplates about what he has said. Zorg agrees with what he says. He doesn't believe that all gods are bad. He just has a very personal vendetta with Saigon. He does believe in revolution.
And his time is now, old man. The future is now.
Yeah, Zorg agrees with you, Zalile.
And Zalile agrees with that. I mean, time is now, but pick the time wisely. Don't make the same mistakes that I made. If anything, and Zorg, is there anything else that you have for us before we throw a little party and then kind of sneakily go to another party?
I have nothing more to say unless Ash wants to say anything.
I just want to say thank you for the compliment. I try to keep that hunger under now.
I mean, you're like I said, you are truly formidable. I mean, you're about to two-peat as a champion, like repeat, what up? But I'm just saying, like, you really should start thinking about branding. All right, like, you know how Fawn sells land? You could sell something like little action figures of you. You should be more famous, Ash. I don't know if that is actually very helpful for a roguish figure like yourself, but I mean, you could if you wanted to.
Ash the Ashen
Infamy.
Skinned.
More infamy than fame.
Well, if,
Let's just keep the fame under pressure now.
yeah, no, I'm just throwing ideas out there, Ash. Hey, if you ever need a marketing manager, you hit me up. I know people like to make fun of the way I talk, but I guarantee you I can talk someone with socks on. Zorg, I want to just say before we leave here and get to our podcast, I really appreciate you talking with us, and I really appreciate that you opened up in the ways that you have, because it allowed me to also open up in the ways that I need to. And if you don't mind, I will tell the rest of the group about my son's passing and my life back in Acheron soon on my own time. But before we leave, there is one last thing I do need to say. In Acheron, I was married when I had my son, and I have a woman that I left behind because we couldn't deal with grief, guilt, all these things. We both blamed ourselves. We blamed each other. I said some things I shouldn't. She's said some things too, and I left shamefully. And Raphael mentioned there might be some info that the Pegasus Knights have about my mother, the whole reason I got kicked out of school and all that stuff. So after the Tournament of Steel, Raphael has been charged to, and I've accepted, to be taken back to Acheron, my homelands, and deal with the issues of my lineage and reunite with a woman that has no right to giving me a second chance. And just wanted you two to be the first to know that fortunately after the tournament I'm gonna have to leave the party and return home.
Miss you, Zalo. I feel like we've gained a newfound trust in each other.
I agree, Zorg, and I'll miss you too, but if you ever need me, if you need anything, the Pegasus Knights are renowned for knowledge of these types of things you want to know about mercy, ruling through respect and not fear. And if there's anything you ever need, you can still call on me. And in desperate times, find a way to be there. Promise. And Ash, thank you for comforting me on our journey to the Ant mines, and I'll miss you too, Ash.
Hopefully you won't be gone too long.
Yeah, well, I can't predict the future like our other companion can, but or fate, is it? I don't know. I could be getting that wrong, but time will tell, and hopefully, if the gods forbid it, might be able to return someday, but depends on life.
Shall we go and share another drink somewhere?
Yeah, let's get a party going. We got people coming
I
from all
agree.
the different groups, and then we'll sneak out and go to the nice little like other party. Should we just refer to that other meeting like as the other party? Is not to arouse suspicion, or is that too obvious?
Are you asking us or the DM?
I'm asking you
You
guys.
guys, you
Like-
guys. It's definitely you guys. This is code for you guys.
Why don't we just mention it as the second party?
Well, because I don't want like people following us thinking that it's an actual party and being like, "Yo, this is weird."
Why don't we just say we're going to a meeting?
But then it's like, why are you having a meeting late at night? Like, I love the ideas. I don't know.
We're having late
dinner.
dinner.
We're going to
How
a dinner.
about we have a lady of the night?
Ooh.
I don't pay for strippers.
It doesn't mean we actually
We're
do
not-
it. I mean, this is the code, Ash. Oh my god. I never paid for them either.
What about bananas?
But if they have bananas at the party, this just gets confusing. I mean, if there's no bananas at the party, I'm down. All right.
Alright.
You
code
can always
red
find
bananas.
finger food, Ash.
Ugh.
If bananas doesn't. Oh god.
By the way, is there any graveyards on our way to where we're going?
He needs to stock up.
That stuff just doesn't stay well. You
In the
need fresh and pickle it.
Well, in the upper class district, you might be able to find some upper class graves, but for the most part, they'd likely be outside of the city.
Would a
But you
butcher
would not
shop
be
have
on the
it?
way. A what?
Would a butcher shop has what he needs? No, right?
They might have some fresh
They-
meat.
I mean, they'll have fresh
Doesn't
meat. They won't
have to
have.
have
They don't
fingers.
have. They don't have humanoid things there, but they do have all manner of different types of legal meat.
What
I
about
guess we
illegal?
can go
Is there
pick
black
up
market?
some jerky, some beef jerky. It's not the same crunch, though.
I'll have to get my goblin to come in and teach you how to make rat tail jerky. Only the finest rat tails, of course.
I guess that comes pretty close.
Yeah, the tail has a crunch to it. Just enough to make it taste good. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. No, it's perfect. Well, I think we're gonna leave the nice little petite cafe that we ended up in and head to the
And wander
party.
through the back alleys looking for rats.
The camera pans over back to the execution of everyone who wanted to see that. The execution goes as normal. They release the platform, falls, hangs, dies instantly. And as you guys had asked, he is being prepared to be cremated, essentially, right on the spot.
Great.
Fire can take care of that handle.
Was Stefan there for that, or did Stefan
No,
peace out
I'm
early?
off at dinner with Monica and the Wind Mage.
Alright.
So are we like essentially watching a Salem witch trial?
In a sense,
Apparently
I
Pyre
suppose.
It's like Salem witch trial, but more hanging.
Actually hung most of them.
Also less trial. Just
They
get rid of the
didn't really
Salem
burn
and the
them at the
trial and
stake.
replace it with fire and ropes.
All right. We got 2 hours left in the session. I think we might as well get the big one out of the way. All right.
Going
Secret.
to be me.
No, I think.
Okay, go ahead. Do the big one. I'll shut up.
Yeah, Pyre and Stefan, your encounters probably aren't going to be as big, because I know secrets
It's
might
fine.
end up pretty big.
Let's go with secret. We'll see what you can blow up.
All right. So you picked. The tavern that was it a tavern or a restaurant?
I think
remember it
we
was a place with
agreed
good
on
partitions.
I think we agreed on a restaurant with privacy, but not like a VIP room, and definitely not a brothel. I just remember saying that I wanted it in like a nice upscale part of town.
Nice upscaled part of town. Okay. Paying out of your pocket, or are you asking someone else like the church to pay for it?
Nah, I got enough of my own personal funds for this.
Okay.
I don't need
Let's
the
see.
church finding out why I would need funds, so I'll do it myself.
Let's say
I got enough gold.
Let's say we'll give you a little bit of a clerical discount. 3 people. Let's say 50 gold
3
pieces in this
people?
upscale. It was Lucille, Cass, and you, right?
Oh, you're not doing the orc one?
Oh, you want to do that one first?
Whoa! I thought the Lucille one was tomorrow. Was the day after? Am I wrong about that?
Nope, it was
Today.
tonight, I believe. It was tonight.
I'm doing both of these tonight. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, then yeah, we'll do that one first. If that's how it goes chronologically, then yeah, we'll do that one.
Okay.
But yes, yeah, then it would be the 3 of us.
3 of you. 50 gold
Cassidy,
pieces.
myself, and Lucille. How much?
50 gold pieces, upscale place.
Okay,
Okay.
done. Marked
when
it.
when you arrive at the restaurant, the waiter does come up to you and say, "Oh, my apologies, but all the open stalls are currently occupied right now. But if it doesn't trouble you, we can get you a private room."
Sure, that works.
Very well. Follow me. And you're shown into like this is a pretty upscale place. You can see that like just from the scent. Do you normally eat in upscale restaurants or no?
I think he does every once in a while. Like it's not an unfamiliar experience to him, but I don't think it's like something he does like all the time. If that makes sense. Maybe like treats himself once a month or something.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, yeah,
Oh, he hasn't treated us.
you
Huh?
you
I'm a little salty.
You should be.
Well, uh,
Ash will never find out I go to this restaurant, by the way.
well, to say that this is probably. Do you typically like frequently your favorite restaurant, like the favorite
Yeah.
restaurant, or do you just go to random ones, just sample the foods of
Yeah, I
here?
think he likes to go from place to place to place, try new things.
Okay. Though this one is probably just one that you're familiar with, not taking a chance with important people.
Yeah.
So you come to it's the usual restaurant. They make all sorts of fine meat dishes, including some that are definitely not native to Veer. You definitely see some dinosaur meat and other various monster meats on the menu as well. And they do have a sizable vegetable selection, some of which come directly from Wiganchi. So you get a little bit of taste of home in there once in a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You are shown into your room. You have arrived first. And as you take your seat, they give you your menu, who ask you for whatever drinks you would like. Not sure if alcoholic or just non-alcoholic or juice or anything.
No, I don't think he wants to get drunk yet, considering he has another dinner date after this one.
Okay. Non-alcoholic cocktail or any juice?
Yeah, something. Yeah, probably like a non-alcoholic cocktail, like a mocktail. Yeah.
All right. And they'll give you the current nightly special cocktail. All right. Let's see. Shortly after you sit down, you do hear a little bit of a knock at the door.
Come in.
And the person who shows up is not Cass and Lucille, but rather a tiefling woman that you have seen once or twice before. This is a matriarch. Hold on, I'm blanking on her first name. Matriarch Gwendolyn Wright of the House of Wright.
And this is the investigative house?
Yep, this is the house that deals with subterfuge, espionage, and information.
This is Plague Doctor's house that he works for, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Gonna
Jeez.
raise an eyebrow at that. I'll stand up. Matriarch Wright. I was not expecting you.
I hope I'm not intruding.
Not yet. Please come in. You'll forgive my concern. I was not expecting a visit from you. I'm surprised you even know who I am. If you do. They said this room was free.
Indeed, the room did happen to be free. We were aware of your arrangement. However, that's besides the point. What I'm here for is, well, I'm sure you have been made aware of a certain meeting at a tavern.
Yes. I have agents in it.
We're not quite sure of the allegiances of some of the beggars and vagrants in our house in that place. We're not sure if they hold sympathies, but at the very least, if you have your agents in there, we would appreciate if you forward information about the ringleaders to the House of Wright.
If they find anything, sure. I have no reason to not work with you. I've been working with one of your agents already, after all. I think you know which one if you know where to find me at this time.
We'd prefer to have this whole situation swept under the rug. So, as long as we get information on who the ringleaders are, we can make a problem disappear. Quite easily.
I chose not to go myself because, well, I think I would get recognized, and that would kind of defeat the purpose. So, I'm taking a hands-off approach and acting ignorant for now. The people I'm with are people I trust to do the right thing and get the right information, even if I have to sift through hours of junk to get it.
And that's reassuring. If you do happen to stumble across any information, then it would be much appreciated then. Anything would help. We're working together on this, I assure you.
I believe you. Do I go to you directly, or do I send it through your little plague doctor?
Neither is fine if you want to send it directly to our mansion or send it through the plague doctor. All bits of information will eventually come to me.
I will decide depending on how severe the information I find is. If I find something that's very severe, I will just come to you personally. If I don't, I'll send it through a messenger if it is that little worthwhile.
Very well. And my apologies, but your guests might be a little bit delayed. You see, you do have a bit of an important visitor. And please, don't be shy when addressing him. I'm sure
You
he'd like to
didn't
introduce
do
himself.
anything to my guests, did you?
No, no.
One of those is a member of the church, and I'd rather not have to get into that.
I did not. And trust me, I wasn't the one who did anything. It is your new guest. Told
He's
them-
the one.
Yes, he is the one. And I
Is he
assure
a friend
you,
of yours?
I'd sooner say he's a friend of yours.
I don't like the way you said that. Don't be
And-
shy, you say.
Indeed. I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. Now please,
I swear to God, if Grant fucking Miller walked through that door, Jorah, I swear to God. Because that's who I'm expecting now. Like, by the way, Tsukuyomi, I made the whole thing up.
now please, excuse me. And just a further note, Tieflings, the half-demons, they are technically part of the Solus, which is the demons related to Solemn.
Okay.
So if you wanted to raise an eyebrow on her particular race.
I mean, I do, but she's in this. Her family's been in power at least in their position since I've been here, and probably longer than that. So
Yep.
I figure if something was already about to happen, it would have happened by now.
Unless they're biding their time and building up their base. Who knows?
Yeah, but listen, I don't live forever. If they want to do that, they can do that after I'm dead. I take a nap for 2 years and then go back in a new body and forget everything anyways.
And stepping into the room is this well-dressed man, one that you have not seen before. Greetings, Secret Dream. I believe this is the first time we've met.
You seem to have me at a disadvantage, Mr.
Lastall. Kevin Lastall. He closes the door, and he takes a seat. Now, I don't want you to be alarmed. I just so happened to be in the area, and I just wanted to check up on you.
Lestall.
Kevin Lastall.
Lestall.
Of
Give me a
Verolden.
second.
It's not in your background story, I can tell you that.
I was like, I would remember a Kevin, I feel like. Okay. So, does the name ring a bell with me when he says it? Is there something I could roll for that, or?
No, actually. Well, make a history check. Let's see how...
Hey, I'm terrible at these. This will go well.
Oh my god, you crit.
Holy shit! All right,
You
listen.
crit. Okay, you actually crit. So, Kevin Lastall, you've heard his name here or there. He's simply a traveling merchant who's come from Verolden who happened to enter into Vir.
And Verolden is famous for what, exactly?
Verolden is famous for being the placeholder city-state in case I come up with an idea for a government that I want to put in there. But for right now, they are a
Alright.
mercantile city-state. They are another mercantile
Like Vir.
city-state, just like Vir, that is pretty much guarding the trade route
area?
out. Yeah, the trade route of the inner whatchamacallit, that body of water that's surrounded by three, that's in between the landmass. the
Is
sea.
Verolden considered a competitor state, or are they more like an ally because they're different regions?
They're completely different regions, so they would actually be considered allies rather than competitors.
Okay. And why is this merchant in particular famous enough that I know him when I've never been to that area?
He's not actually. You just happen to
Oh.
hear his name along the wind.
I just heard
it's
having to hear. Okay. And he said his name was Kevin. What? Sorry.
Kevin
wasn't Sullivan.
So, Kevin Lastall.
Is he a lord? Do I know if he has a title? Or have I heard rumor of a title, I should say?
You hear that You've heard that he was able to get an audience with Mr. Vir himself.
Okay,
and with
so
some
that's
of the other
something.
noble houses personally as well.
Okay, so I'll say, Mr. Lastall, I heard you were in town. It's interesting to put a name to the face, and vice versa. I heard you've been a busy man.
Indeed, I have been busy, and you've also been quite busy. I'm sure
has
you
to be.
have. I'm sure you have many questions, especially with that particular job that you're dealing with.
You're going to have to be more specific. The church does many things.
Well, you're the only one who's dabbling with collecting lightning shards now, aren't you?
Okay, you're an interesting one. What have you done with my friends?
Nothing. I've simply told them that you are just a little bit indisposed for an hour. Just inform them that you might be a little bit late, you know?
How kind of you. Fine. You know about the shards, and you know my name, and you knew I was at this restaurant. And I know that you are from Veralden. You are, despite the fact you have no title, you have the influence enough to gain entrance to the minds and vision of several nobilities in this city, including Lord Veer himself. So, what can a son of Sirkava do for you?
I suppose I should stop beating around the bush. Can you take a guess as to who I really am? I'm not actually from Veralden, and Kevin Lastall is just an alias.
I would take a guess, and if I say who I think you are and I'm wrong, I'm gonna look like a jackass with daddy issues. Father.
He smiles when you say that, and gives you a slight chuckle. Well, if I'm not who I say I am, then you better strike me down for blasphemy. 'Cause some would call me Sirkava, the god of fate and good fortune.
And how would you prove such? You're not Zygon. You can't simply burn down a city-state.
You two switch locations. You're sitting in the chair he was sitting in, and he's sitting in the spot that you were sitting in.
You know, I've seen that trick once before. I even saw a chicken do it recently. Is that your doing?
he
love
he
it.
laughs. He laughs. A chicken. A chicken. What? You mean you mean the one that got its head decapitated like this? And he opens up his hand, there's nothing in it, and then spawning right in the middle of his palm is the golden chicken head that Pyre tore off.
Yes, like that.
I'm willing to bet right now the gnome who had possession of this head might be a bit confused as to where her item went. But it's just a momentary convenience, and he tosses it up into the air and it disappears.
Okay, if you are my father, tell me, do you remember the name of my mother after so many other siblings you've been making? Don't think I've told anybody her name.
And he says, as the god of fate and good fortune, I have been blessed with very, very good luck. I'm willing to bet I could even close my eyes and guess the name randomly and pick out your mother's name. Things tend to go Sirkava's way. Whether I'm aware of it or not, and whether I'm aware of it or not, and whether I am actually physically present or not. A lot of things related to me tend to go my way. After all, I'm sure Lazy Garden still has fond memories of that night.
I'm sure she does, Father. You will forgive my reaction. There's a lot of people making a lot of problems these days. Have to be sure.
Indeed. Perhaps I'm actually Visage, the god of many faces, who's simply taking Sir Kava's image and powers for just a moment. Wouldn't that be a surprise?
Considering Dad changes his face about as often as some people change their clothes when they have enough money, that would be pretty amazing to take his face, wouldn't it?
Do you say that out loud, or are you thinking that?
Yeah, no, he says it out loud.
It appears you don't understand the full extent of Visage's power. Visage can actually become people when he transforms into them. He can even access their memories as well.
Even a god's.
Indeed, even a god's.
Well, I don't think Visage would tell me that. Not if he was out to kill me.
Indeed, he likely wouldn't.
I believe you.
Yeah.
But I would also ask a question.
Go ahead. I'm sure you have many questions.
I do, but the one that presses on me is why now? Most of your children never ever get to meet you. You're the one god who's famous for that.
Well, I do visit my children, whether they're aware of who I am or not. In Keist, I'm sure you remember that I am known as the god of miracles. Sometimes I act in complete secrecy or silence.
As much as I don't know how to show it, because I always try to hide behind sarcasm instead of actual emotions, I do feel appreciation. I just don't know how to show it without being all mushy and embarrassing.
That is perfectly fine. If you wish to see me again, I shall be staying in Vir, and I will likely be visiting Vir and Keist regularly along my travels. It is my domain, after all. Just seek out a Kevin Lastall.
Sure. The only... hello? Yeah, sure, yeah. I heard that.
Who dares watch shitposts in the middle of my game?
Who dares? Sorry. He'll say, Kevin Lestall. I understand. I will try to not sound like the overbearing son who is leaving his father for the first time, to save you from that, and I will instead ask, how can I help you today?
I suppose I could say that you are at the crossroads of fate right now. Your actions are going to shape the future of Vir as well as potentially the future of the world. You're not the only actor or player that will be changing history.
As so rarely happens. And you already know that I'm on your side and the side of your church, Father. Are you worried about me?
In a sense, yes. I am concerned of your well-being and concerned about... I'm concerned about your well-being, and I'm also concerned...
It's not Clearheart, is it? You're not concerned about her, are you? I promise to keep it tame.
Clearheart? Well,
Oh.
I haven't sifted through your memories. I have no clue Miss Clearheart is right now.
Okay, maybe that's not important. I thought you were about to give me a talk about safe sex, but that's a whole other story.
He laughs. Well, I don't believe I've seen any visions of you getting any disease or illness in the near future, so I believe you should
yeah,
be
sure.
safe.
Good. He sighs.
I honestly thought he was gonna say something else.
So, what does worry you about my well-being,
I was
Ben?
going to just stop at getting any.
Yeah, pretty much. You will want to pick up a plan B in the morning, son. Don't ask.
Yeah.
Or you are going home and getting familiar with your right hand, son. Don't ask.
Who do you...
Stop at the drugstore on your way back.
Yeah. I need milk.
I need my fix. Unfortunately, my good luck didn't help me didn't help me with getting banned from the local store.
God damn it, Dad. Maybe you didn't try to fucking tell the fortune of milk. Okay, sorry. I'll let you talk.
Okay. He says, who do you think you should trust in this conflict? Do you think you should trust the workers who might be brewing up a rebellion, or do you think you should trust the corrupt noblemen who are willing to trample anyone in their way?
Do you want my honest opinion about that? I trust neither.
I see.
Honestly, if it weren't for the shards, I wouldn't care about the rebellion.
I see.
I'll tell you a secret, Dad. A secret you probably already know. I don't really care about petty politics between the countries. I play along when it suits myself or the church, or what I think is your interests. But quite frankly, back home, we didn't really have those things. And the more I travel the world, the more I see why.
I see. I see. But do you care about the future of the world?
Of course I do. Why do you think I'm doing this?
It depends on what you want to do in the future, I suppose. If you wish to follow your own path and make your decisions outside of the purview of any god, then you can continue doing as you are doing. You do not need to interact with the politics of man or worry about the consequences of their actions. Though the winds of change are blowing across the land, I'm not asking you to interact with any of it. I'm not asking you to embark on a holy mission in the name of the gods. It's perfectly up to you and your decision. What you wish to do with your life and what you wish to do with your future.
I hear a butt coming. No?
What? Let me see. There's so many things I can talk about. Well, I'm trying to organize all the thoughts. The future of the world will depend on how some of these wars go.
Okay, I figured. That's how that goes, but I'm going to assume you mean not just the world, but potentially the Pantheon.
Indeed. I'm sure you have seen glimpses of the future, glimpses of the War of Ascendancy, or perhaps even further than that. And that would be referring to the Wars of Liberation that you got hinted at.
Yes, I've seen those visions. Originally, I assumed they were sent by you, which spiraled this whole thing. I understand a little bit better that I have my own influence on that power, and I am still learning to use it. I think I did something rather impressive today myself if I did it right, but
No? And what did you attempt today?
I used the threads to look into the past instead of the future. Instead of looking at the frayed ends of threads, I followed the complete strand backwards.
I see. I see. You must have had a very piercing headache from that. It's
I
not
did.
easy finding a specific point in history. It's likely only going to get much, much more difficult from here.
But I'd like to continue it. It was a very useful tool.
The past and the future are both very useful tools. You can, peering into the future, so long as you can look out and look at the big picture, you might be able to see why people do certain things, how people think, and you might be able to find a route that can help both sides of the upcoming conflict.
By averting disaster, I hope? Or is it too late for that?
In the future, there are still many possibilities over what might happen. There could be a full-blown rebellion, or there could be something far more mild. Needless to say, both sides can well, I think I'll let him put it this way. If you're able to play both sides, you might be able to find a route that leads to the least amount of bloodshed.
Walking a fine line usually involves somebody falling over eventually to one of the sides.
Indeed. You can never be sure of where fate will lead, and you can never be sure if all the people you trust will act the way you expect them to. However,
Raises an eye.
However, one thing is certain. You're likely to come into conflict with someone else who will have lightning shards of their own. Likely equal to the amount that you will gather in the next few days.
There
sure
is a particular hobgoblin I have my eye on from his visions of the future. If that's what you mean.
Drugel is a very interesting man. I can assure you that
Are the
Wow.
visions that I have of him, is he as integral as the visions make him out to be? All three visions I divined of him were very different, but very impactful.
I'll just say that you're not the only person who's trying to manipulate him.
Well, that means I have to step my game up.
But
I was gonna let fate run its course for him to find the shard and interact with him after.
Well, you do have to be very careful. If he doesn't find the shard, it could potentially be worse. You don't know who would find that shard, even if you sail out to sea and attempt to find it yourself. You might have changed fate in a way where someone else with far worse intentions could have grabbed it.
That's why I didn't tell him about it. I only told him to go fishing. Start his little business.
Ash is already in the water holding breath.
God.
I just have all this sea to look through. This gigantic sea mass.
Surely.
There'll be one of these 100,000 fish in the Bay of Veer.
My name's not Shirley.
That's Ash.
But, he says, so long as you keep all of the shards that you have gathered, I'm sure you can confront any challenge ahead of you.
So you don't want the shards. I was going to give them to the church to put in most of them in your possession. With the exception of the one I promised Zygon, with the idea of keeping them separate for good, so that nobody could become the god of lightning.
Oh. You've already promised one to Zygon. Interesting.
I initially didn't. His son did. But the action makes sense to me. If you'll allow me.
Although, it states, although I can see where you're coming from, not using the power and not falling to temptation, I can assure you that should you come into conflict with the other person who has lightning shards, they won't be as what's the word for it? Scrupulous?
Merciful?
Merciful? I suppose they won't be quite as merciful.
Well, I have something they probably don't. The threads of fate.
Reversal of fortune can be very difficult to use to manipulate that particular destiny. There are many, many futures that lead directly to that hobgoblin finding the shard, and if not him, someone else. So it seems very set in stone in the near future that someone is going to be finding the stone.
Yes, but I have friends. If he comes into contact with me, I am not alone. In fact, if I remember correctly, you basically sent those people to me. You told them about the shards. I had the visions.
Yes, you could say that. Yes, you could say that. It was all fate. We happened to arrive at the right place at the right time and had, well, the proper backgrounds in order to fulfill this mission. I did choose these particular people for a reason. All of them have their various experiences. Some who see their gods in a positive light, and others who have seen the destruction they have wrought.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Let's see.
I even kind of like Pyre and Zorg. They're good people. Stefan's nice too. Did you have to pick Zeliel?
Indeed I did. In fact,
Ugh.
it's quite interesting. Zeliel's mark of visage was certainly a surprise. I hadn't realized that visage was capable of concealing his marks on people now. Yet, that was not formerly the case. So I suppose we need to be more vigilant.
Have you sifted through my memories yet? Or do you already know about this Goliath?
I have not yet. But if you're referring to one that has burn scars on him, I have seen him as one of the potential aggressors in the upcoming conflicts. He is not alone,
figured
though.
He's the one I saw when I looked into the past.
The other
He
gods
was
are...
talking about a certain item that Zygon did not like that I knew the name of. I think you know which one I'm talking about.
One of
Does
the two.
liberty mean anything to you?
I prefer liberation, if you'd say so if I'd say so myself. And he says, it's quite interesting that you managed to gain that information at this stage.
He's the one telling random peasants about it.
I'm not sure who this rumor came from, whether it came from Solemn or it came from Visage. It is problematic, though. Heretics are popping up all across the many city-states. It's possible that they might be able to influence the population with enough words and with enough demonstrations. But I'm sure you might have questions.
I do, and I have worries. The problem I have right now is it seems easy to kill all the heretics as they pop up, but eventually you kill enough heretics and suddenly we become the bad guys from all the people we've killed. That's a tight rope to walk. We can't just kill them all, but that means we have to outreach to the heretics. Now, the problem with that is the heretics are usually heretics for a reason, such as Grant, whose family was killed by Zygon. Or at least Zygon's little war. How do you reach out to those people?
That is indeed the mystery, isn't it? If I were to visit them and perform miracles for them, I'm certain some people might not take it the right way. They might have their own ideas of pity or various other
Or think you're bribing them.
Indeed.
Some people don't like that.
For that purpose, that is why the orc is in your care as well. He walks
Zorg.
a fine line. Yes, Zorg is in your group because he walks
I like him.
that line as well. He has much hatred for Zygon, and it's quite obvious that he aspires to be a godslayer. But I don't think he is beyond any line of communication, any dissuasion from his current path. You could say
Am
that
I
it's-
supposed to stop him from being a god slayer? Or let fate run its course if it is to be?
That is entirely your decision. Either way, I'm sure observing Zorg will be a quite valuable learning experience of seeing how these people become obsessed with vengeance. What lengths they are
Sure,
willing to
but-
go and how they get there. But ideally I would want to see you attempt to dissuade him from his current path.
Well, then I shall try. I do not know if I can assuage him, or I can dissuade him from his path with Zygon, but perhaps the other gods, although I will try. You must understand, I am not the most charismatic of your sons, I have learned. Nor am I the smartest. I'm just the luckiest.
And that is perfectly fine. Fate sometimes works in mysterious ways. Perhaps it's better that perhaps failure could be better.
Maybe. I'd rather not, mind you. Especially if you've come this way to personally give me a message. I'd rather not fail you. You are my father, after all, and I have devoted my life to being your son and to this church, even if I have done it in maybe a slightly different way than my siblings. Maybe I have slightly different views than the rest of them. But I believe in most of the core tenets you preach.
You children. It seems far too common that you children try to chase after me. I want all of you to
I-
live your own lives. I want all of you to live your own lives happy, but you've all decided that you would be happier living in the church or under my view.
The church has given my family and myself many benefits just from its existence. I see no reason not to pay it back and see if those benefits can be spread to other people. The church has given me the ability to perform miracles, to help people, to see the future, to save lives. I don't see that as a bad thing.
Yes, it is a beautiful gift to have. Sorry, I'm not trying to downplay what you've been accomplishing and what your path is. It's just amusing to me, you could say.
I was perfectly fine knowing you weren't going to visit me all my life, so the fact that you're here, admittedly, like I said, this is still a shock, and I'm sure the realization and the reality of the situation is not going to hit me until after you're gone. That's why I'm glad you at least gave me the common decency to give me your name, because I probably will be looking for you again. I have questions. More questions still, but not all of them are related to this, he says as he taps the table.
Do you have your shard with you?
I do. I was going to continue experimenting with it tonight after my 2 dinners that I did not think very greatly. And he says he's rambling as he takes it out of his pocket. I didn't think this through very well when I made plans.
And that is fine. May I see it?
I'll slide it over.
Okay.
He says, now if you prove your visage right now, I am going to do everything I can to stop you. Just saying.
If I was Visage, the first thing I would do is cut off my own head and then replace you with it.
Wow, that's charming.
And he puts his hand out over the crystal, and he says, "Do you remember what happened the first time you saw a crystal?"
You mean how I nearly got electrocuted to death when I grabbed it?
No.
Or when they all exploded around me?
No, actually.
Or are you talking about before that?
The one you found in the sewers.
Yes, I remember they pulled it out of a brain?
Do you
The Elder
remember?
Brain.
Do you remember how it interacted with whoever grabbed it?
I think that was Ash. Kind of.
Since it's been a while, I'll refresh your memory. Ash reached out for the lightning shard, and it essentially just gave him a small static shock. And he kept trying to grab it, and shock, until finally he grabbed out a little cloth, wrapped it up, and put it in his bag of holding. That's a very different reaction. And he says, that was a very different reaction to how it interacted with you, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever wondered why?
Is it the fact that I'm your son? Or I'm a demigod
actually.
at all?
I've got my own theories. I don't think it has anything to do with you being a demigod at all. Some people
Is it my personality?
Some people have reported... We have seen reports of ascendants appearing right before the eyes of trusted paladins. A lot of them say that when they grab the shard, there's typically a very explosive effect that happens, seemingly related to whatever power they have picked up. But for the lightning shards, the first lightning shard just gave static shocks. The second one electrocuted you.
Felt like nearly to death. Do you think that they're different shards? Like, as in different stones?
Well, you experimented with this shard before, correct?
Yes. I found that it could increase my speed theoretically, but I had different ideas I wanted to try with it.
Well, you're fairly lucky right now. Why don't you attempt to play with this lightning shard right now? Because I want you to confirm a theory I have.
What do you want me to play with it and do?
Try to do the exact same thing you did when you first experimented with it.
This is a fairly nice restaurant.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure, as long as I'm around, I'm sure you won't even damage a single tile on the floor or a single piece of wood in the furniture.
If you say so. He'll hold his hand out to like have it slid back on across the table to him. The shard.
Okay? Yep. He gives it back to you.
And he'll go from one end to the room and he will try to channel the shard.
You immediately notice that there's no lightning coming out of it.
He'll look down. Does it look like it has any energy at all in it when I look at it?
Yep. You can feel a little bit of static.
I thought I was attuned to this. What did you do?
Nothing. I think that the shards get more powerful the more you have together.
So you think because I'm separate from Ash now,
Pyre's the one that has it.
or do you think because I'm separate from Pyre now?
It's quite possible.
Then isn't it a funny thing giving Zygon one shard? Shard will be nearly useless to him.
It indeed will be nearly useless to him, though I suppose the bigger problem would be that you do not have access to a third shard, and thus your powers would be greatly reduced if you wanted to protect yourself against other shards.
So you think I should hoard them? Are you afraid of what would happen if I or any one of us would become divinities? What if I go crazy?
That is a possibility, but I have faith. You are my son, and you are blessed with luck. And much of you, although you have your different viewpoints, none of you seem to be inherently evil or inherently demon-worshipping.
I simply try to be a force of fate, not good or evil. I just try not to be a dick, as hard as that is sometimes.
And that is fine. That is perfectly fine. But I have faith that you'll be able to choose. That you'll be able to choose a good path.
If I go that route and deny Zygon the shard that his son promised him and that I said I would go along with, that's going to cause some problems. Are you going to be prepared for that? If I go that route? I know of one other stone, I think.
I could
I
indeed
was gonna
step
have
in. I could indeed step in and intervene. However, I think it would be a good thing to have some experience dealing with other gods.
So you want me to practice being an envoy for your interests?
Perhaps it would be good to see Zygon's fiery temper for yourself. And I can assure
He already
you,
had...
he's not going to burn the town down. I can personally assure to that.
He already went out of his way to insult me and my siblings once when I talked to him today. I'm sure it can get much, much worse than that. I see where Pyre gets it.
Indeed. Zygon's a bit much to get used to, but there's no
I
doubt
think
that
what you're
he
looking
is
for is
brilliant.
dickish.
Yes, he is dickish, and according to people, I'm a bit lazy.
Aren't you?
If everything in life went your way, then what's the problem of enjoying it once in a while?
I agree. Then again, I'm your son. Why wouldn't I agree?
Though I suppose when
Look.
you don't. No, go on.
No, go ahead.
Though, shoot, what was I gonna say? Though I can understand their perspective, seeing how I like to operate in secret.
Ah, you're funny. He just looks at him. Was my name Urandia or Mom's? I always just assumed it was Mom's. It's a very Tabaxi name.
It was your
Were you at
mother's
Tabaxi
idea.
that? Were you at Tabaxi that? Do I even want? No, I don't want to know. Don't even tell me. Don't even tell me.
Perhaps
So
I was,
you
perhaps
want-
I wasn't.
So you want me to try to convince Zygon that it is now better for me to keep all the shards instead of giving one to him as promised?
You can certainly attempt it. I don't foresee Zygon budging now that he's got something within his sights. But you can always
I don't
try.
necessarily see the harm in giving it to him, especially if so separated from the other shards that it would have little power. It wouldn't be as much of a threat to the Pantheon, including yourself. Especially since I've already got word of another set of potential shards I was planning on investigate after I settled this with the lightning shards. In Waganchi, there is somebody who is playing with sound after he found a stone on a mountain. The Primarch of the whole country.
And where is... You didn't say the name yet, so I think he's...
No.
And where would this be? I don't think you
Waganchi.
said Waganchi. Okay, yeah.
That's what the dinner with Clearheart was partially about. She's from that area. She was going to tell me about him and the rumors she heard. She had new sound magics I hadn't seen before.
I see. Have you informed Zygon about this?
Yes. Pyre let a trap for me to do it, so I did it while I had him. I
Then
figure... He didn't seem to take me very seriously, though. So I'm sure we have time.
We need to act very quickly as soon as we're done with this job. Because I'm willing
That was
to
my
bet
plan.
Zygon would be unafraid to burn that entire place down to the ground if he is aware
rather-
that there is another shard there.
I'd rather him not. I'm getting a rather distaste for mass burnings lately.
If this would happen to put you at odds with Zygon, I can at least try to rally the Crusader Knights of Keist and attempt to come to your assistance. Well, instruct them to come to your assistance. Might be a bit busy with other Ascendant shenanigans down in the southern continent.
I am not charming, but I am lucky. If I feel that if I can get Pyre on my side to agree to some of these things, that he would be the key to talking reason into Zygon.
I would be surprised if anyone could talk reason into Zygon. He can be very stubborn when he sets his eyes on things. He would need to apply it in a way that would be beneficial to Zygon.
Well, it's not like we're his enemies. Maybe competing a little bit, but we're not his enemies. At the end of the day, even if the Pantheon changes a little bit, I would rather see the Pantheon stand. The current Pantheon, as it is now, has been more stabilizing for the world than the war before, has it not? Not that I was alive then, but I know a bit of the histories.
The city-states come
A
into
war of
conflict
the
all time.
gods. A war of the gods can be probably more destabilizing than any regular war of man and mortal.
Indeed. If more ascendants arise, then it could cause problems. Both me and Zygon, we did have a little bit of conversation. He does want a lightning shard, but he also understands that we don't have as much information on how this so-called ascendancy actually works.
How did you
So-
become a godfather, if you don't mind me asking?
I was simply
Was
born
it not
this way.
through... And yet...
We existed long before this material world ever existed. When all that existed were, well, the space overhead, the
The
astral
stars.
plane. There weren't even stars over there because mortal souls did not exist back then.
So, you, who created this world, not you, but the gods, still don't understand how these stones grant divinity? Would that make them alien? Not of this world?
I am certain I know their origin. The ascendancy phenomenon only became a problem around 30 years or so.
So very new. You're not hiding some old...
You cut out
These
there.
are actually just a new problem. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was saying, so you're not hiding that this happened a long time ago and you sealed it away and it's unsealing now or something. This is actually just legitimately a new problem.
This is a new consequence, yes.
Of...
The Divine Crusade is a very messy affair, and some of the information related to that is very sensitive. As much as I would like to entrust you with this information, there's also a risk that if you were under the effects of a mind control spell, it could be exposed to the wrong people.
You think I'm a blabbermouth. Well, I guess I
Not-
can't fault you for that.
No, not willingly. When you are under the effects of mind control, you can't control yourself.
Okay, fine. So there is something that happened, and these stones are a recent consequence of whatever happened. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But are the people who get these stones, are they actually gods like you?
That is what we're going to be researching. We have yet to have an ascendant. We have yet to, well, have an ascendant, at the very least captured alive, in our presence. So we aren't entirely sure how these stones actually work. That's why Zygon and I have decided that if we do gather the lightning shards, we will entrust these powers to someone.
But you don't agree on who.
We have our ideas. Since you and Pyre are already searching for the shards, he's willing to compromise and allow one of you two to try ascending. But only if you two are willing. If you decide that you do not want to risk being an ascendant, then we'll find a different person.
I'll do it. But if
Bear
I
in
start to
mind-
be...
Well, bear in mind that once you do it, you will no longer have your freedom. You will essentially be, well, in a sense, a pawn of the gods, and many people will see you that way.
So no longer your son in that sense.
It's quite possible you will still continue being our son, but we will only find out when you actually ascend, if you can ascend.
Sleep. No. Sleep. Alright.
That is something to think about. So it's not just the power. there's something else. I will
It's
think
best-
on it.
It's best to get information on what our enemy actually is, to understand how exactly they work. If you ask me, I have my doubts that they would actually ascend into godhood, but it's a possibility.
Compared. Is there any way you could start sending out feelers to Waganchi now? I know who supposedly has this. Supposedly, it's the leader of the entire area.
I'll have Keist attempt to send some knights over. They'll have to. It might be a treacherous journey, so I'm not sure if they will arrive in one piece.
I would say be careful about the use of violence. They say he's a reasonable man, but I don't know how true that actually is. The man who has this stone.
That has been something that's been on my mind. Perhaps it wouldn't be too bad of a. Perhaps if the people see the gods marching from place to place and taking these powers forcefully, it could send mixed messages. And I've been thinking that for some of these people, perhaps it isn't a bad idea to instead try to become allies with them. There is, of course,
I was thinking the
risk to
same
that.
thing.
But now that you have notified Zygon, if we wanted to make allies with Waganchi, we might have to defend them with force.
From Zygon.
Indeed.
That might cause problems with Pyre. Although maybe not. He is like me. He wishes to be of his father, but his own person. It's easier for a son of Serkava to be such because you let us be such. For a son of Zygon, it's a little different from what I can gather. He's a little bit more strict.
Very strict and very demanding. If you are anything short of perfection, I hear, then you are a failure.
Or a woman, for that matter, from what I hear.
Indeed. If you become a pawn of the gods, it could push you. Well, it would be a wise idea to surround yourself with very capable people. You might be forced to. Although your group is fairly talented, just the six of you
We are not
would.
nearly as powerful as we could be.
Not nearly as powerful as you could be, and not nearly as numerous. There are many other powerful people out there, and even with the six of your strength combined, you might not be able to overwhelm an army. Especially with armies that have various skills and tricks and magics they can call upon.
I will see if I can talk reason into Zygon first before we do anything drastic. I think it's at least, if you're willing to work together on these lightning shards, he might be willing to listen to reason in regards to the Soundstone.
It's a possibility, but have a backup plan just in case.
My backup plan is to investigate myself after. I have a stop I can make. My ancestors come from that land. I have a clear stop. I have a welcome home. And that should make things at least relatively easy to get there. I just have the rest of Drenzis to deal with first. But I might be able to hitch a ride. I think one of the Pegasus Knights likes me. Kind of. Maybe. Maybe I can hitch a ride on a flying horse.
I forget if
Unless you have a mount you wanted to.
Zalal did tell you that he was leaving it, and I forget if he said that he's leaving with Raphael.
Probably, but I still have the feather for now. It's in my inventory. I haven't crushed it yet.
Good. Yeah.
Unless you want to give me a divine steed, Father, I will not question it. Even a camel.
No, I'm sure you'll find a way. You can think of
You're
this
the
as
worst.
you can think of this as a test. You do need to be resourceful. There will be wars, and you might be thrust into the middle of them whether you want to or not. It's up to you whether you or not you want to be a commander, a soldier, or simply a bystander.
I want to simply be me. Which is potentially all of those things or none.
I hear that
I will figure it out as I go.
I hear that they will be hosting. Hold on. I need to look at which of the noble houses. I think it'll be Crown. Yeah. I hear that the House of Crown will be hosting another little, I suppose, sport tomorrow. It's a military sport where people get to command groups and simulate army combat. In a world where warfare is so common, they can even make games out of it. If you wanted to thrust yourself into the command position, I'm sure no one would object to someone who is a seer in the Church of Sirkava wanting to try their hand at leading people.
I'm not. Leading a group of people is one thing. I do not have much military experience, but I might watch. Might learn something. I think learning from the professionals is better than me blustering my way around.
If you believe that is good enough, then yes, you may do exactly that. Just be mindful that opportunities for hands-on experience do not come often.
I'm aware. There is somebody who I might thrust in there in my steed who I might take note of.
Pyre?
I was going to say Zorg, actually, but
Zorg?
Pyre makes sense too.
Pyre and Zorg. Knowing how Zygon is, he probably sees it as being beneath him.
Probably. I'm still going to get him to date that halfling one way or another. I will make an old couple of them yet. I just don't know how yet.
I didn't realize that you were in the business of shipping people.
Not normally, but when they hate each other that much, I just can't help myself. You know, when I see a glass at the edge of a table, Father, I still get the urge to try to knock it over sometimes. I am a tabaxi after all. Meddling in things I shouldn't is sometimes part of my identity, even if as your son.
I suppose a degree of chaos could make the world interesting, though personally I don't. I mean, I'm one to talk. And he doesn't elaborate further.
I have two questions. One of them I don't think you're going to give me a straight answer on, and one of them you actually might be willing to, if you even know.
Go ahead.
I'm sure you know some of the escapades. Zaliel did something stupid. While I agree fundamentally with his actions, and I think they were the correct course morally, the way he went about it was dangerous. But there was a side effect of that I saw that I wanted an answer for. When you, I'm sure, are aware that he released those 6 goblins. When I was watching him leave with them, or at least watching them leave, they were being followed by another goblin who was dressed as a Crusader of Kaist. What was that about?
Goblin who's a Crusader of Kaist. Hold on, just a moment. And you see his god symbol flash in his eyes for a moment. Oh. I see. I hadn't seen that particular memory yet, but it looks like... It appears that a former slave goblin that was rescued by Ash in your party appears to have taken some pity on them and sneaked them out.
So the ones that were dead was not them?
If I had to guess, no. They likely just did it for a public display to show that they have everything under control.
I'm sure they'll be happy to know that. How does this goblin know Ash?
Ash
Why
was
does
the one,
that keep happening?
Ash was the one that released him. He was...
When?
Well, technically, you've been in this city-state longer than him. He'd probably say... about half a month before meeting you.
Is
He
he
was with-
actually a crusader? I thought the training was longer than that.
He is a squire, essentially.
And you said
Okay.
I've met him before?
Yep. If you remember, this is that. So when you and the previous party broke into the bottom of that bar to rescue your prisoner, it's that goblin that you pressed the knife up to and were contemplating cutting his throat, and you gave him something like a hammer or something to back you guys up if you got into conflict. You escaped with him,
Oh, yeah,
and then you just
yeah.
let him go, and then you just let him on his merry way, and somehow he ended up in Keist.
Alright.
I'll be sure to let them know. The second question, the one that I don't think you'll give me a straight answer on, is Cassidy my half-brother?
He's very, as far as I can tell, he's very opening about saying that I am the father.
But is he?
I will
Is-
let Cassidy
Are
be the
you
one.
his father?
I will let Cassidy be the one to say that.
Is the Oracle his mother?
He puts his hand on your shoulder. You shouldn't believe every single rumor you hear, my friend.
No, just the ones I know that potentially, from my own personal experience being my existence, know that anything is possible.
Anything is possible, though I can assure you that the Oracle is a virgin.
Drat. The rumors are false. Then why is he so powerful? All
I
that
suppose you could say
undeveloped
that-
power.
I suppose you could say that it comes as a surprise as well. By the way, don't you dare breathe a single word to Cass about our encounter or my current identity right now.
I won't. I might tell him I met you, but I'm not going to tell him who you are or where I met you. And I might, if only because I'm keeping him in the loop of my little crusade here. His luck, somehow being just as much, if not even more than mine, has come in useful for me, and I am taking him to Wiganchi with me. He knows what I'm doing. I'm weaponizing his luck to my benefit.
You probably shouldn't even mention that you've met me, because knowing his luck, he's probably going to walk in on one of our conversations.
Okay, I won't, but I am now attempting to extort you for something for that little bit of silence against him.
Don't make me use reversal of fortune to change your memories too.
I want to be able to go through people's memories like you can. It would be very helpful in the task that you have given me. I want to learn.
That is a fairly advanced move. Not even the Oracle can reliably peer into the past. So it's definitely something that you'd have to attempt much further on. As you've seen, it can cause headaches. At worst, it can cause full aneurysms.
Is there some way that you can help me develop instead of going through memories? Is there some way you can help me develop a way to reliably look into the past, if even just a few moments, without killing myself?
It's very likely I'd say that you'll have to take your development step by step and eventually work up to it. I know you want to be capable of peering into the past without restriction right now, but it's like... What's a high skill job? It's like,
System administration.
Trying to blacksmith a magical weapon when you're only just learning the basics of crafting a dagger, a mundane dagger. There's a lot that can go wrong.
Is there anything at all you can teach me? Just anything at this point. My father is right here, right in front of me. Most kids get to learn things from their dads. Just saying.
And some parents are hands-off and wish to let their children learn themselves.
What's a father?
Make a persuasion
Don't
roll.
screw with the stuff you don't belong in. That's good advice.
Make a what kind of check?
Make a persuasion roll.
Fuck. 15.
You give him the big old cat eyes. I'm not sure if Secret would do
Oh
that.
yeah. I mean, he would if goddamn if it works, he'll try it at least. He saw his mom do it once. It worked really well.
Like, he looks away. Just this once. Just this once. I'll teach you something small that you should be capable of at your current level. You can... Later on, you might be able to use Reversal of Fortune to affect your enemies as well, but for right now, this is something that most soldiers of fortune are capable of doing, and you can actually improve this with switch locations later on. You can switch the locations of items that are of equivalent size. If you're trying to switch two items of completely different sizes or completely different compositions or weights or what have you, if there's extreme differences, it'll be much more difficult. And he teaches you one of the crossed out abilities, which is...
I know which one it is.
Yes.
Is it switch items?
Yeah. Yep, it's switch items.
Sick. How many charges? Because you have that in question marks.
So it's on question marks because it depends on what you're switching. Because...
Oh, so I have to get that from the GM when I try to
Yeah.
do it, essentially.
Essentially,
Okay.
yeah. Because the more that it impacts fate, the more cost it could have. Like, if you have two drinks, one of them is poison, one of them is not. If you switch those using your Reversal of Fortune, where it's almost undetectable, that could cost a lot of points.
I see.
But if it's just something like, Ash is firing an arrow of, I don't know, orc slaying, but you actually want to switch it to an arrow of dragon slaying on your possession, then that could cost one charge of just switching the arrows.
An arrow of orc slaying?
Yeah,
Hey, man.
there's
Hey,
a...
man.
There's literally an
That sounds-
arrow. There's an arrow of everything slaying, dude.
Yes. Yep.
Welcome to D&D.
Yeah, I got a quiver full of these arrows of God slaying the other day.
Hey, can you pass those over real quick? I need to
No
see if-
reason. Yeah, just
I
tie
swear
a
I'll hand
couple
it
of them
back.
to your sword.
I don't know,
It'll be
this
great.
this strange guy said you had some good arrows, and
And then he also offered me crack cocaine with them too. I just couldn't say no.
no, I
The
really
crack
felt sorry
cocaine-
for him because he was a Goliath with burn scars all over him, And I felt
Crack.
sorry, so I took them.
Crack cocaine of orc slang. There we go. You can do these drugs, but not if you're an orc. Okay. I will add it to my sheet, and I will look at him and think about the lesson he taught me, and nod and say, "Okay, I'm satisfied with that for now. I appreciate it." Okay. Now that I've met you, my life feels kind of different. I will try my best to do the right thing. Whatever I decide the path is, I will do my best to make sure it is the right thing for this world and the church and your interests, as I have continued to do so. But I also will continue in both of our wishes to try to figure out my own path in life as well, and not just simply be your son. I feel like I've tried that, but I still have that drive. A renewed one. No offense to you. Not saying meeting you has been terrible. It's more just a reminder.
I look forward to hearing your answer on whether or not you decide you want to accept the power, knowing that your life will irreversibly be changed.
To me, the important part is, will I still be me?
That is a big question.
And that's what I need to decide.
Please, take your time thinking this over.
Do you want me to bring it up with Pyre, if he's the other candidate?
You may go ahead.
Okay. I have a lot to think about. And in exchange, I will not tell Cassidy of our meeting. Although I have one other weird question. Why House of Right to introduce you? Why didn't you just come find me at the church or somewhere else?
Well, I could have wandered aimlessly until I found the right place, but I figured it would be much more beneficial to just simply get the House of Right to tell me precisely what's going on and where you currently are.
Do any of them know who you actually are?
Some of them have an idea, yes.
Does Veer?
Yes, Mr. Nathaniel Veer definitely knows. I made him my champion once. I
Okay.
don't think any shape-shifting disguise could fool him at this point.
Right. Then if I desperately need you more than just a prayer, I will look for Kevin Lestall either in Veer or Keist. Where are you staying in Veer?
I'd say...
Please.
I'd say that's currently... I'll keep that part a secret. If you wish to find me, then you can... If you wish to find me... Let's see... If you wish to find me... Then let's do this. You can simply ask... You can just ask Lucille... Which one? Ask Lucille where she intends to dine. And it's very likely that she will choose a location that I will be nearby, or in. Where she wants to have dinner. Ask Lucille where she wants to have dinner that day.
Okay. And if she says the restaurant that's in Keist, I will... No, you're not here.
Indeed.
Ugh, this is so bothersome. Okay. I will play your game, Father, if only just because I find it interesting, and because you're my father.
Basically, you can posit any question to Lucille, and due to luck or faith, whichever you believe, she will likely be able to guess an accurate location of where I am.
Okay. Well, I will desperately seek you out at some point, I'm sure.
Yep.
But I will think upon your question.
Whenever you ask, you just need to make it very clear to me, the DM, that you're asking where Sarkava is.
Right. I will. I better prepare and look like I'm running late.
No, our guest should be arriving likely within 5 minutes or so. But if you have any other questions, especially because I imagine you might be curious about the Divine Crusade, Rukari, or various other topics like the War of Liberation. I know we have.
I
been speaking for a
am.
while, but
I just don't understand why you let him, Rukari, be in the Pantheon after what Zygon did. Aren't you afraid he would turn? Because right now he is my
Situations-
#1 suspect.
Situation's actually complicated. I can tell you that Rukari will not be ejected from the Pantheon, and that conflict with him wouldn't be fruitful. Baruch was certainly destroyed and cursed by both. It was destroyed by the Northern Army, scorched down to the ground by Zygon, and also cursed by Lumen, the god of light. But the situation is a lot more murky than that. And he does go quiet and he starts thinking over what he should say next. The I was gonna say something, but now I'm reconsidering.
Was it to send a message to him, or was there something that was that bad there that had to be dealt with?
Baruch was one of the city-states that wanted to declare neutrality during the war. Rosend marched over with her undead army and effectively told them to join or die. They told to join, and Rukari was absent at the time. Many of the Goliaths were forced to renounce their allegiance to him. The Baruchi marched with the undead army and committed various atrocities across the north. And the Baruchi eventually returned home to defend it against, well, retaliation. And history will tell you exactly what happened. But after that, Rukari returned and offered to assist them if they swore allegiance. Baruch has gone through. The people of Baruch have had a colorful history. They were the first city-state to be completely destroyed in the first demonic invasion. They moved to Grandalia, but Grandalia was sunk 100 years ago. Then 25 years ago, that's when Rosend marched over with her army of undead. So they've had a history of being the punching bag, I suppose you could say.
So why curse it? It seems a bit extreme unless there's some sort of undead threat that lingered. Right?
When they're possibly the undead army of Rosend and consequently the Baruch Berserkers within their ranks, when they arrived to the city-state of Darrence, they also pleaded neutrality. However, Rosend was not having any of it. They chose to fight, and the entire city was put to the sword. Men, women, children, and beasts. I'm sure you can imagine what the general populace would... how the general populace would react to an act of complete genocide.
So you decided to make sure that it couldn't come back so that the descendants who scattered other places would be safe from retaliation. Is that what I'm understanding?
To be honest, anything could be going through Lumen and Zygon's head. There's a reason why I did not curse that land, and why various other gods also chose not to curse that land.
Then perhaps I should talk to Zygon. He'll be here soon.
Indeed.
Are you going to come visit him? He'll be here in 3 days.
Honestly, I don't believe that'll be necessary. I think you can handle it.
You have an awful lot of faith in me, and I'm scared that might be a terrible thing for you and your plans.
That's something. Faith is one of the core tenets in the Church of Surkava. Having faith in the future, having faith in even dice or cards, in gambling. I suppose you could say I'm used to things going my way.
I see. I do have questions about the Divine Crusade, but I'm not exactly sure they're relevant yet. Perhaps a different time, when there is more time. I think right now I need to focus on the missions. At least for now.
Do any of the other... I do have to wonder. Does anyone in your current party... do they wish to know the reason why the Divine Crusade happened?
I bet many of them would. I am curious myself. In particular, I'm sure Zygon's son would love to know what his father was up to. I'm sure his father never told the complete truth. I'm sure Zorg and Ash would like to know what happened with their homes and why.
Due to the sensitive nature of the topic, I will have to be vague. So long as the fallen gods or the demonic gods exist, the demonic scourge will be a persistent threat. We have tried to invade the Abyss once before, and that was met with catastrophic failure.
So never again.
We do intend to go down there again, and we intend to strike at the heart. Gods are different from mortals. And the vague answer I will have to give you is that the Divine Crusade was a war to decide on how to best exterminate the demons. And the conclusions of that war would definitely have a great impact on the future.
Is that why the Liberator exists?
It's a possibility.
I guess it would be a handy weapon to take against the demonic gods, wouldn't it?
Indeed. That, or a blade of unification. But that's besides the point.
What is a blade of unification?
I'm actually hinting at another legendary weapon that hasn't been unmentioned. The Liberator and the Unifier.
Oh shit! Now we just need their angry cousin, the Vorpal sword, and we'll be on our way.
The Liberator and the Unifier. But he's not going into detail about the Unifier.
And the angry cousin's Black Razor.
Oh shit! You're right. How can I forget? Get the Liberator in one hand, the Unifier in the other, and Black Razor I hold in my tail as like a tiny little dagger.
What is that, by the way? 'Cause I'm not finding it.
Black Razor is Give me a second. I'll see if I can pull up its stats. But the Black Razor is a very old Black Razor. Let me see if I can find it. I typed in the word Blaz. Black Razor. I don't think they ever ported it to 5th edition.
Oh, it's all one word. Great sword.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
There it is.
Okay.
It's a very angry weapon.
All about souls.
In case you can't tell.
From a cursory glance.
And it's sentient.
I see. Honestly, it's kind of similar to some of the other weapons that already exist in this current setting.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Most legendary weapons are kind of bonkers.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So the Divine Crusade was about how to exterminate the demons, and the results of that gave you the plan.
Well, we were fighting over which plan to use.
Who won in your mind? Not just what the history books say, but who won in your mind?
To be honest, I believe too much was lost. I'd say we're all losers, in a sense. But we can only make do with what we have, so... I'd say that the current pantheon of Irenaeus, this will be the ideal plan moving forwards. I suppose we will be the winners if I had to choose.
I'm not so sure, but I wasn't there.
Like I said, I'd honestly answer that we're all losers.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I will do my part. Whatever that part is, and whatever I think it is, I will do my part.
Do you have any other questions you want to ask him at this point?
What's so special about Lucille?
Wait, you're gonna have to be more specific.
Why does she always know where you're at?
She doesn't. For the most part, she has an uncanny ability of... I've noticed that she has an uncanny ability of always being able to locate where I am. I suppose you could say that it's a side effect of her being a descendant of Lucia Keist. Lucia Keist...
So not you're doing on purpose?
No, not really. Lucia Keist always somehow managed to find me due to her strong faith and devotion. She ended up becoming one of the greatest Dragon Knights of Keist. Well, one of the greatest Dragon Knights who founded Keist.
Are you saying my devotion's not strong enough?
It's possibly strong, but but hers is just absurdly strong. You will probably understand once you've met a Keist.
Well, should be pretty soon.
Indeed, but we are at the end of the session, so this is probably gonna be next time as I go through everyone and pan the camera around to all your dinner dates.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a hell of a 2 dinner dates for me. God, Stefan's is gonna be weird and interesting. Hope he gets laid.
Yep. Oh, he can. Well,
Just tell Monica to go home that day after that night afterwards. Like, hey, Monica, I'm gonna need you to stay home for a bit. I got some business to take care of. You know what I'm saying, Monica? And you can. I don't want you to end up sketching it.
Oh, you want to learn new wind magic? I see.
Yeah, that.
Well, I do hope that you show me what you've learned later on. I'm excited to see all sorts of wind.
No, God, no! Oh, God.
Oh, yes, I went there. Alright.
You gonna take that, John? You gonna take that? He is.
Taking notes.
God, she's gonna learn. She's gonna literally. It's gonna be the Karma Sutra, but as drawn by a Genasi. I don't know how I feel about that. The woman doesn't just take notes. It's gonna be literally an art book. God. This game.
Yes. A lot of talking, a lot of plot. Yep, but I knew this was gonna take a while.
That was a hell of a lore drop.
Indeed, indeed. I knew that Surkava was definitely going to be meeting you sometime.
He sure picked a hell of a way to do it. Hey, y'all,
Yep.
can you go to dinner an hour late? He's gonna be busy.
Mm-hmm. Access to Surkava once in a while. Maybe not completely reliably.
I don't think so. Not reliably. But that'll be
As long as
interesting.
he's not out doing somebody something.
Yeah, oh, I mean, listen. I was kind of surprised. I was kind of expecting him to say it when I asked him, like, where are you staying? I was expecting him to say a brothel. I was very much expecting the word brothel to come out of his mouth. And I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But it didn't.
Yep.
Very proud of you, Dad.
I mean, he did say,
You
I'm
did
keeping that a secret. So it could very well still be a brothel.
I mean, that's true, but he didn't openly say it, so I can still be proud of him for now.
By the way, take care of your stepbrother a few months down the line. All right. But yeah, I suppose we'll end the session there as we've got so many dinner dates.
Yes.
And we will conclude it off with a good old conspiracy, potentially. Alright. So, how do you guys feel about Secret's lore drop session?
God.
I don't know
There's a
anything
lot.
about it. I wasn't there.
Oh, I'm sure you guys will hear about it tomorrow when it's the next day after all the dinner dates.
Alright, but I know the spotlight was mainly on Secret for this session, but do you guys enjoy the session?
Yeah, it was a pretty good session.
Yeah, when it's when you're not in yourself, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Secret's talked
man,
enough
like-
about not having a father that this was pretty interesting. Teach me something! My lesson is I don't teach. That's not a lesson!
I definitely like the hint that he dropped about Zorg on accident after that conversation Zorg had. You know, sometimes the people you trust don't act the way you think they're going to, and I'm sitting there like, oh, Dad, what are you not telling me about Zorg that I have to pretend not to know anything about from that conversation?
I had plans. Pyre was going to have this great conversation with Stefan, and I know I'm going to forget it next week.
But he already had it.
It's
Maybe.
fine. No. I had ammunition
not.
planned. It's all right. I got my moment. I got my make secret say my father's name and trick him into praying to him.
You could write it down, just so that you're prepared for next time.
Not worth it. It's fine.
Okay.
I am satisfied with what we got with secret.
Alright. Alright. Yes, we are slowly trucking along, slowly but surely. We might be able to make it to the Tournament of Steel before Zalaya leaves. And if not, we're definitely going to be fast-forwarding to the Tournament of Steel. Oh boy, oh boy. This is definitely going to be an interesting little arc. It's still a major arc, even if you're not in a dungeon attacking people, because there's a lot of talking. And I am curious if your characters would be interested in a little bit of a war sport game thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to bring it up with the party.
When you say war sport, are you talking about like armies and legions and stuff, or like
Essentially,
what's
yes.
war sport? Player, I'm not sure. Character, Pyre started the campaign playing chess.
Now he's playing checkers.
Whatever, board game. He was playing a war game. That was Pyre's introduction.
Yeah, I gave up playing chess when the computer started beating me. That pissed me off.
Yes, Anime Girl 269. You know that she's not real. No one sees that far
what
ahead.
program it was, but it was learning too fast.
There is a fun video about Moncala. No, it wasn't Moncala. It was whatever, the black and white checker game that they have in Asia. Absolutely made the world champion quit the game, and a few years later, a novice figured out how to completely trick the computer, because no matter what they did, the computer couldn't actually realize it was playing a board game. So he out-logicked the computer.
Yeah. Well, after a while, I didn't feel so bad when it started beating world champions too. So.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But I still didn't bother to play anymore.
All right. Well, is that today's session?
I guess so.
All right, well, have a good night, and that was a good session.
It was a very good session.